even the supposedly safe levels of chemicals in the air are harmful for young children's cognitive development. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Summer Roadwork, special coverage on Utah's Morning News.
UDOT says there are over 200 construction projects taking place right now across the state. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts continues our series, Summer Construction.
I told UDOT spokesman John Gleason I used to drive my crying baby on I-80 in Sugar House because the worn-down gravel made the perfect road to lull her to sleep.
We're trying to remedy that. We don't want it to be the bumpiest freeway.
That's just one of UDOT's 217 construction zones right now. They're repaving, replacing bridges, and widening that freeway.
Bangor Highway interchanges. We have 4 new freeway-style interchanges.
The West Davis project also creating a new 4-lane divided highway. Gleason says you have 217 spots now in Utah to pack your patience. Lindsay Aerts, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The former Marine charged with choking a homeless man to death on a Manhattan subway is expected to be arraigned today. ABC's Derek Waller says that Daniel Penny said he was acting to protect himself and other passengers when he placed Jordan Neely in a chokehold.
Finally, those charges are expected to be unsealed later this morning, and this is actually the second time that he's being arraigned on these charges. First, after he was arrested, but then the grand jury gets its say, and they returned a true bill. Now, in a statement, the Neely family attorney said the indictment was the right result for the wrong that Penny committed, saying at some point he should have let go.
The travel nightmare drags on as severe weather impacts the East Coast. ABC's Lionel Moise has more.
The FAA blames storms in the Northeast, but United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said the FAA is at fault for the delays in Newark, telling employees the FAA reduced the arrival rates by 40% and the departure rates by 75%, and saying weather is something that the FAA has historically been able to manage. The FAA fired back saying, "We will always collaborate with anyone seriously willing to join us to solve a problem."
Moise says ground stops imposed across the Northeast caused more than 2,000 cancellations and 7,000 delays yesterday alone.
A group of U.S. senators, including Utah's Mike Lee, has introduced a bill aimed at Major League Baseball exemptions. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
The Competition in Professional Baseball Act would end baseball's exemption from antitrust laws governing other business and sports leagues dating back to the 1992 Supreme Court case Federal Baseball Club versus National League, which ruled that baseball games are not traditional interstate commerce but exhibitions exempt from antitrust laws.
We have the ability through legislation to undo it, and that's precisely what we're doing.
The bill is assigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee, where Senator Lee sits. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
And we start off with the same road work affecting northbound drivers going from 215 on to Legacy that we had yesterday. We got some heavy traffic in Parley's Canyon, some on State Street in Sandy, and 4800 West is closed between 90th South and Old Bingham Highway out in West Jordan. That's a route that a lot of people use to get to the track station at Old Bingham, and that's because of a water main break that happened yesterday. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
President Biden will be putting a spotlight on his economic policies today. ABC's Andy Field has more.
The president will highlight his economic vision for the nation for the next few years and call it Bidenomics, a brand name that polling shows many Americans don't agree is working, with a recent ABC News poll showing 54% of the country thought Donald Trump did a better job with the economy. President's press secretary disagrees, saying voters they talk with support the president's policies of making smart public investments, helping grow the middle class, and promoting competition.
Field says every president wants to be attached to a good economy, and Biden hopes his policies will help him get another 4 years in the White House.
A report card from the Federal Reserve comes out today on the health of the nation's banks. ABC's Daria Albinger.
Following the 2007 to 2009 financial crisis, the Federal Reserve established a set of parameters for the nation's banks to ensure they won't fail in the event of an economic downturn. The annual stress test compares a bank's balance sheet against such scenarios to determine how much capital they'd need to survive. The results of this year's test come out today, and they may get more attention than usual. It's the first one since Silicon Valley, Signature, and First Republic banks failed. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Salt Lake City is the third best city in the U.S. to start a career, according to Bankrate. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
When it comes to starting a new career, Salt Lake City offers a unique springboard.
The opportunities are there for not only the young workers, but also older ones too, but mostly the younger workers and so on. Great place, great opportunity, great expansion area.
Mark Nold of the Department of Workforce Services says Utah's demographics create a dynamic market for beginners and move-ins alike.
The nice thing about the Utah economy, it's very diverse. It has a big distribution across the whole economy of how jobs get spread across different industries.
Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Looks like we don't have any crashes this morning, but there is some slowing northbound on Legacy Parkway because of, you guessed it, construction. We'll get another look at traffic and weather together coming up next.
Start your day with all news in the morning. Then hear Dave and Dejanovic talk about the biggest stories from 9 to noon.
Crashes every single day because of road rage.
A concern for Utah drivers.
Breaking news, important talk, all morning on KSL News Radio.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Shining is not for a chosen few. Like a rare gemstone, each one of us was created under just the right set of circumstances. Your moments, your milestones, your love story, all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion or an invitation. You and your life are the event. At Shane Company, we handcraft our jewelry with the greatest care and hand-select the most beautiful gemstones so you can shine. So put on a pair of earrings that make your eyes sparkle. Wear diamonds that light up the room. Try on sapphires in every color of the rainbow. Give an heirloom that collects new stories with each generation. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Boyd Matheson on the pitfalls of politics.
Sadly, both political parties are more interested in scoring political points than they are solving the American people's problems. They're playing a zero-sum game, and it's not zero-sum. It's everybody coming together. We have to come together. Compromise has integrity. That's a big part of what's going wrong in our nation's capital and in many conversations around the country.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
All right, Amanda, I've seen some pretty amazing drone shows in the sky, but I have mixed emotions about doing away with fireworks.
Well, yeah, because that's our whole we grew up with fireworks, and our kids love them. But I get it. I get the air quality issue, and I get the fire risk issue.
Well, and it's a reusable.
And drones are amazing.
It's a reusable source, too.
And they're cool to see.
Get ready for that in Salt Lake City. The mayor has decided, due to air pollution and other factors, there won't be fireworks, but there will be a drone show. We'll tell you more about later this morning. KSL News Time now is 5:09. Time for a look at traffic and weather together, which we do every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Back to you, mister.
Right now, Tim, if you're on I-15, you've got the full speed limit Draper to downtown, so 18 minutes as we start things off. No problems yet on Bangerter or Mountain View, but we do have a closure of the road because of a water main break. It's on between 90th South and Old Bingham Highway on 4800 West and West Jordan. That's a road a lot of people use to get to the track station, so that could be the other routes will get really busy later this morning. Heather?
No problems right now in Weber and Davis County. You've got good speeds on I-15, US 89, and I-84 in north, south, east, and west. But we do have a little bit of road construction on Legacy Parkway northbound, and that can slow you down a bit as only one left lane is open. Eric?
Right now, it's looking good in Utah County on I-15 from Provo and Orem up to the county line. If you're heading out through Provo Canyon, no problems there. Parley's Canyon on I-80, just a little bit of westbound slowing up over the top of Parley Summit. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Call 974-9090 or visit SuperiorWaterandAir.com. Superior Water and Air, we got this. Eric Butler on the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for mostly cloudy skies today, high of 84, and then a chance for some thunderstorms by afternoon and evening. Overnight lows, low to mid-60s, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, mid-80s again, and a slight chance for an afternoon storm. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in Salt Lake City, partly cloudy. I actually found some rain on the way, and I don't know if you did, but
I did not this morning.
A little bit out in West Jordan. 64 degrees now downtown.
I noticed it yesterday, though. I wasn't expecting it yesterday.
Yeah, our neighborhood really
we got a gully
hit.
washer for a second,
and we were telling everybody all morning we had a 0% chance. We need to talk to Matt later this morning.
Yeah, we do. Coming up in just a moment, I did not know this, but Pope Francis has a peace envoy that arrived in Moscow yesterday to try and help create a peace between Moscow and Ukraine. Can't imagine if that has any chance of success, but let's find out more about it
but
coming up.
Anything's worth a try.
Sure.
Right? We'll get the details next at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. It's Tim and Amanda here on your Wednesday morning, your all-day companion for news.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
A stranger with a gun came upon 2 teens taking pictures under a rising full moon. But violence is only the beginning of this story.
Sometimes I thought, there are no miracles. Yeah, there are, and this is a big one.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and I've spent my career talking about how lives are undone by violence. The Letter is a podcast about how lives are remade. Follow The Letter at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We can have disagreements and still be friends. So often, I think people think that just because we disagree, that we're enemies. That we are not. We're great friends, even though we disagree.
I hope listeners take away something new every day, a new detail they hadn't heard before. And I also hope our show opens their minds to new ideas, new ways of thinking of things.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports Zone are counting down to the kickoff of college football with a huge giveaway. This summer, you could win a new travel trailer from Bish's RV. Family owned for 30 years. Bish's RV has always helped RVers go play. And you'll win a pair of BYU season tickets as the Cougars prepare to take on the Big 12. Enter now. Text the word football to 57500 or visit kslsports.com/contests.
KSL News Time now is 5:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
summer construction season is here, and UDOT says there are 217 construction projects across the state right now. I'm KSL News Radio's Lindsay Ayers.
Second, Salt Lake City leaders say they're going to invite the public to attend drone shows this 4th of July rather than fireworks shows.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
And right now, traffic is looking good, at least for now, on the freeways. No delays on I-15 or I-80 or 215. But if you're going from 215 on to Legacy, lane restrictions for road work has you slow right now heading into Davis County. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A chance for thunderstorms today. How about a high of 84? I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 64 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The air travel nightmare drags on as severe weather combines with staffing shortages to cause thousands of delays and cancellations nationwide Monday and Tuesday. So far this morning, there have been hundreds more. Mike Santrafello has been trying to get home to Orlando from Newark and is stuck.
My flight was at 1:30 yesterday. It got delayed, and then it got delayed to a new time, and then that time got canceled. And me and everybody else on the flight have basically been stuck here for a day and a half now. It's about to be 2 days, and no vouchers, no nothing.
ABC's Janet Yu is at Newark with them.
This is not something that is going to be fixed right away. I mean, passengers really have been waiting since Sunday, and they just have no choice but to wait here. Some are on standby for flights, but at this point, they don't even know if there, one, will be room on those flights, but two, if those flights are even going to take off.
People from Wisconsin down through Illinois seeing the worst air quality in the world on Wednesday. Just like New York a couple of weeks ago, the problem caused by smoke from Canadian wildfires. Shirley Manson, lead singer of the group Garbage, had to leave an outdoor concert last night.
COPD, and I have asthma. And as a result,
This kind of weather is like really dangerous for me, so we have cut our set slightly short.
Last weekend's uprising by the Wagner Group in Russia closer to an actual attempted coup than we thought, says ABC's Andy Field.
A senior U.S. official tells ABC News that the Wagner Group leader thought the Russian military would join him and was shocked when they didn't. President Putin wants to investigate, but is also trying to show strength and unity. Evgeny Prigozhin is now in Belarus, protected by his own security.
Former President Trump telling ABC's Rachel Scott in an interview last night he did nothing wrong and has no regrets about the classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. He says it was just bravado when he was heard talking about it on that audio tape cited in his indictment. You're listening to ABC News.
Let's go in depth now. An envoy for Pope Francis has been visiting Moscow in an effort to ease tensions between Russia and Ukraine.
ABC News correspondent Inez de la Catera joins us live from Paris. Tell us more about this peace envoy, Inez.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so the Pope here is sending his peace envoy to Russia to try and help end the war in Ukraine. This is a mission being led by Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, who has been involved in a number of the church's peace initiatives in the past. So in Guatemala and Mozambique, for instance, he also helped negotiate a ceasefire in Burundi. Interestingly, prior to getting to Russia, he also went to Kyiv. So we know he met with the Ukrainian president while he was there. It's unclear what he'll be doing in Russia. There is some speculation that he'll meet with the leaders of the Russian Orthodox Church. Their leaders have actually strongly supported the war in Ukraine. Unclear whether Zuppi will meet with political figures as well. So maybe the Russian president, he did meet with Zelensky. So there are questions as to whether he would meet with Putin. Putin, though, of course, in the middle of, handling this short-lived rebellion by the Wagner Group. So unclear whether he'll meet with Putin. Zuppi has also repeatedly expressed solidarity for the Ukrainian people. He has called for peace. But worth noting that he has shied away from calling out Russia and the president, Putin, by name. That's also something that Pope Francis has actually been criticized for. There are those who say that the Pope should be doing more to call out Putin for starting the war in Ukraine. But the Vatican, traditionally has not done that. They don't typically take sides. They will kind of engage in quiet diplomacy without ever really blaming one side or the other in a conflict.
Easy to carry a message of peace, tougher to bring any resolution to the politics involved here, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see if anything concrete actually comes out of this. Again, this is all quiet negotiations happening behind the scenes. Worth noting, they're not the first to try and attempt to broker a peace deal here. We know the Chinese were also involved at one point, with China also sending an envoy to Ukraine and then to Russia. That hasn't really amounted to much. So, we'll see what comes out of this peace envoy from the Vatican. But certainly a something tough to be doing it all, but especially tough to be doing it now while Russia is in the middle of, trying I think Putin trying to really show strength and unity after everything that happened with this rebellion over the weekend.
Do you have just a second, Inez, to tell us more about the Russian Orthodox Church? You may not know this, but I'm just curious. Are they always aligned with the Kremlin on everything, or do they ever support peace?
It's a great question. So they have expressed solidarity, or that they are in favor of the war in Ukraine. They have repeatedly expressed that. And when I was in Ukraine back in November, there was a lot of talk about the split between the Ukrainian church and the Russian Orthodox Church. There were raids on Russian monasteries and churches there in Ukraine that Ukrainian officials felt a lot of members of that religious community were kind of acting as spies in Kyiv and then reporting back to members of the Russian Orthodox Church back in Moscow. So there were raids on monasteries, on churches, and there has been a split there. We've seen just Ukrainians kind of, developing their own church more and trying to break away from the Russian Orthodox Church.
That's an interesting angle. Inez, thanks for your coverage on this. Inez de la Catera reporting from Paris. You just wonder how much sway, if any, Putin has politically with the church there.
Sounds like it's quite strong.
It does, because and for them to be in favor of the war is
strange.
Actually, a weird stance on any church's part. But Something we'll continue to watch today. We can keep our fingers crossed, of course, that the envoy might have some success, and we'll watch it with ABC's help on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, so far so good. Salt Lake County Drive on I-15, I-80, and 21st South Freeways all delay-free. Minimum travel times. Most of your routes to get to the freeway. So far, no extra slowdowns on Bangerter, Mountain View heading north, or on SR 36 in Tooele County. Through most of it, there is a little bit of brake lights right before the Flying J Saddleback Boulevard intersection in North Salt Lake. Heather?
The only issue up north is for people trying to get into Davis County using Legacy Parkway. We do have road construction right where I-215 joins on to northbound Legacy Parkway, so you only have one lane. There's not a lot of traffic this time of the morning, but the few cars that are out will be below the posted speed limit because of the lane restrictions. Most of the traffic is southbound between Ogden and Salt Lake, and that's less than 30 minutes right now. Eric?
That's a 30-minute drive in Utah County from Santa Quinn all the way up to Point of the Mountain if you're going to do the whole stretch. If you're out in Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, heading north on Redwood Road, no problems, and so far no trouble getting over to the freeway as well. Upgrade your countertops with beautiful quartz or granite. With Bedrock Quartz, it's only 7 days from template to installation with showrooms in Layton, West Jordan, St. George, and Pleasant Grove. BedrockQuartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. 84 today with a chance for storms. We'll go 85 tomorrow, lesser chance, but still a slight chance for some PM storms. 87 and mostly sunny for your Friday. We move into Saturday, 92, sunny skies. High pressure right overhead on Sunday, 96 degrees. We'll go 97 on Monday. How about partly cloudy and 96 for your 4th of July. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy skies, I mentioned, found a little rain on my way in this morning, 64 degrees this hour. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We were just talking off the air about church in Russia, and that is sort of a unique situation. I'm thinking of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I think they're even forbidden from proselytizing to Russian citizens, but they are allowed to volunteer. So they volunteer in various capacities, but they're not allowed to teach the gospel in the way that they would in other countries.
Yeah, it's interesting, and my feeling is, and we, obviously we haven't been there, either of us, but that you just don't cross Vladimir Putin, no matter what, walk of life you come from or what your goals are in society. You go along with whatever Vladimir Putin wants now.
Right, regardless of your religious beliefs.
Yeah.
We always welcome your texts, and let us know anything you want to share about this story or any other story on the Cyprus Credit Union KSL text line 57500.
Coming up, we'll check money news. What is that 4th of July cookout going to cost you this year? We'll talk about it next.
Don't miss America's Freedom Festival in Utah County, a celebration with a mission to teach the honor and patriotism of our great nation. Take in Utah's largest July 4th Grand Parade, Freedom Days in downtown Provo, Balloon Fest, and Colonial Fest in Orem, followed by the state's biggest fireworks show and concert, Alta Bank Stadium of Fire, featuring Journey. For information, visit freedomfestival.org. freedomfestival.org.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
The 4th of July is an important holiday for all Americans. Hi, this is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. For some husbands, however, in troubled marriages, holidays are marked more by hardship than harmony. If you're such a guy and considering divorce, know all your options, including alternatives to divorce. We advise, we advocate, and when necessary, we litigate.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Salt Lake City area attorneys. 910 West Legacy Center Way, Suite 120, Midvale, Utah, 84047.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Good news, your 4th of July cookout will cost a little less this year. The average cost for a party of 10 is $67.73.
Not at my house.
then you're only having hot dogs and chips if it's $67
Forget
for
the
10 people.
Forget the chip dip. Forget the corn on the cob, the watermelon.
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
kidding me?
Whatever it is, they compared the same thing, I'm sure, last year to this year, and it is 3% less this year. That's according to the American Farm Bureau Federation.
I always shake my head at where they come up with these figures. Tired of the same few ingredients on your hot dog? Speaking of that barbecue, a new Pepsi-infused ketchup will debut at 4 Major League ballparks this 4th of July. The new culinary fusion is part of the hashtag Better with Pepsi campaign.
You know, when I saw that, I thought, I remember how surprised I was when I learned how much sugar was in ketchup when I was on that diet, and I learned how much sugar was in ketchup. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, that's part of, they're trying to sweeten it up even more with the Pepsi.
Wow.
Well, Bud Light is offering a $15 rebate on 15 packs of beer for the 4th of July weekend. Some purchases less than $15 are practically free. Customers can claim the rebate on the Bud Light website.
Yeah, that movement against Bud Light lately has really impacted their bottom line. All right, the Dow Jones Industrial, the only one in the green, at least as far as the futures go, we're up 26 points. The S&P is down 3. The NASDAQ this hour is off by 27 points.
Good movement on the freeways throughout the valley. Here on KSL News Radio, we'll update traffic and weather together next.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky if we could get one video to load on a desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out all the time, and internet that can power a house full of devices with ultra-low lag. So one person streams a movie from their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Through September 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet with unlimited internet data and Wi-Fi equipment included. It's all just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Summer in Utah means road trips and road work. This week, get information on the construction that will affect how you get around, roadwork plans around the state, repairs to potholes, and a future project in Spanish Fork. Summer construction, this week on KSL News Radio.
Join KSL and the movie show this Friday from 9 to noon at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
KSL News Time, 5:29. Let's get that look at traffic and weather together, which we do every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy Farnsworth is in the traffic center.
And drivers enjoying the full speed limit if you're coming out of Tooele County on I-80. Lake Point had some slowdowns on SR-36, but those have cleared. Doesn't look too bad yet on Bangerter or Mountain View corridor as you go on the west side of Salt Lake County either. Heather?
Things are pretty quiet up north through Weber and Davis County. No accidents reported on city streets or major freeways. So right now you've got good speeds if you're southbound I-15 between Ogden and Salt Lake. Same holds true for US 89 and Legacy Parkway heading south. But you will see construction northbound Legacy right where it hooks on from I-215's west belt, which can slow you down just a bit. Eric.
Over on the 215 East Belt, no problems heading north from Cottonwood Heights through Holiday Mill Creek all the way up to I-80 and Foothill Drive. Foothill looking good to the University of Utah. Down to Utah County, I-15, no trouble so far from Provo to Lehigh. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
So today we do have a chance of storms. Actually, it's today and tomorrow. We have a chance both days, primarily in the afternoon, I guess, but we'll talk to Matt more about that. Today's high will be 84 degrees. We'll stay in the 80s for Thursday and Friday, but then let's look ahead to the holiday. On Saturday, we go up to 92, Sunday 96, Monday 97, and for July 4th, it looks like 96 degrees. I know that's far out, but it does show a 10% chance of rain. I hope that doesn't spoil anybody's July 4th. We'll know more as it gets closer. Right now, it's 64 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A record-breaking snowpack is almost completely melted in what experts say was a near-perfect spring.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, more than 99% of the statewide snowpack is now gone, and we really didn't see any major flooding at all this spring. National Weather Service meteorologist Linda Chang says the temperatures worked out just right.
We didn't have any significant warming, and we didn't have any significantly cold temperatures. It's just kind of moderate temperatures, kind of up and down every day.
KSL.com reports that some areas and higher elevations actually, and again, the statewide average varies. So some areas actually got over 70 inches of snow water equivalent. So it's really amazing. We did not get any major flooding, and we're going to continue to see temperatures in the 80s this week, but we're headed to the 90s this weekend and maybe even pushing triple digits by Monday. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And Adam, June is almost over, and we haven't hit 100 degrees yet, but meteorologists say that's actually normal. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla explains.
We've seen some warm Junes, but this month has been surprisingly cool. Meteorologist Alex DeSmit with the National Weather Service says this is what a normal June should look like, and what we've experienced the last couple years is not normal.
Not normal to have that many 100-degree days in June, but it started to feel like it was normal, right? Because you go back to 2015, every June had a 100-degree day except for 2018 and 2019.
One 100-degree day is normal for June, but DeSmet is almost certain we won't have one this year. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Temperatures above 90 are on the way this weekend, and that means playground equipment will get dangerously hot. KSL News Radio's Dale Spalding has more.
Intermountain Health Memorial Clinic General Pediatrician Dr. Peter Lindgren says there's clear signs of dehydration in kids, their energy, and their mood. If they're tired and irritable playing on a hot day, they might need water. He encourages parents to keep water on hand while kids play. On the more intense end, Dr. Lindgren says if your child goes from hot and flushed to cold and pale, it's time to get medical help.
Lindgren adds if a child gets burned on playground equipment, the best thing to do is get off the playground and pour water over the burn.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Evacuations have been ordered in Scottsdale, Arizona, as firefighters there battle a fast-moving brush fire that exploded in size last evening. Fire management spokesperson Tiffany Davila says that firefighters are trying to protect homes and businesses.
They're working structure protection. We do know that there's structures in immediate threat of this fire, so the crews are doing everything they can to cut line around these homes that are in the vicinity of the fire. They're doing that right now.
More air support is being called in to help, including retardant drops from DC-10s.
There's an outbreak in Bountiful of water balloon assaults. Joining us live is KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston. Peter?
Amanda, police say they've already written 10 tickets for people who threw water balloons at locals in their cars, and they hope to nip this problem in the bud before a victim gets road rage. Assistant Chief Dave Edwards says that there's a time and a place for this sort of thing.
A paintball or an airsoft or a water balloon, those things, it's just not appropriate. And it makes people angry. It makes people...
One victim was a Bountiful Uber driver named Dennis, who told KSL TV last night that he was with a client when something smashed the side of his car and made the passenger scream. It was apparently a water balloon filled with soda and something hard enough to leave a dent and gunk on the side of his car. Edwards says that people who are caught doing this sort of thing will get charged with assault. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A South Jordan family is feeling unsettled after discovering bullet holes in their house. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
South Jordan police are still investigating who took a shot at a home in Daybreak.
We face into like a communal garden, so it's super weird.
KSL TV met with a homeowner who wished to remain anonymous after discovering the bullets in a hallway closet after penetrating the front door.
Well, I freaked out. We had a baby in the house, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like the perfect height for her head.
The homeowner just wishes she knew how it happened and that whoever did it will hold themselves accountable.
I'm just concerned that it might be like a kid that has access to a gun that got a hold of it last night and accidentally shot it off.
Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Boy, that's unsettling. You come home and find bullet holes in the door?
And after not hearing any shots fired or anything.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Traffic looking very good on I-15 so far this morning. We've had some issues, or we did. It looks like the slowdowns are gone from northbound Legacy coming off 215. Still have the lane restriction in place, but we're just not seeing the delays with it anymore. And looks good. Utah County, both freeways and city streets so far. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Former President Donald Trump is reacting to the audio recording quoted in the indictment against him.
Trump has pleaded not guilty to 37 federal charges in relation to documents found at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Now, the New York Times reports prosecutors have also subpoenaed surveillance video from Trump's New Jersey golf club as part of the investigation. In the meantime, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on damage control after suggesting Trump may not be the strongest Republican candidate in the 2024 presidential race.
ABC's Justin Finch says that Trump told ABC News this recording of him talking with a staff member about a top-secret document from the Pentagon is just his bravado.
The sudden death of a former NFL quarterback is drawing attention to beach safety. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more.
Authorities in Destin, Florida say a group of people on a sandbar yesterday struggled to get back to shore. One of them later identified as 35-year-old Ryan Mallett. He was pulled from the water and died at the hospital. Mallett joined the New England Patriots in 2011, spending 3 seasons as Tom Brady's backup before playing for the Texans and Ravens. The Patriots releasing a statement saying the team is deeply saddened by Mallett's death. Former Patriot star Julian Edelman tweeting, "Tough one to swallow. Thoughts are with the family." The sheriff's office is now investigating Mallett's apparent drowning.
Norwood says Mallett's death is highlighting a surge in rip current deaths along the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, and I heard this morning, I've never been stuck in one, but that if you find yourself in that situation, you should not fight against it, but
don't try and go to shore. Yeah,
swim parallel to the beach until you can make your way out of it.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
People living in Collinston, Utah, in Box Elder County say they have a new perspective on state history. Videos making the rounds online show seagulls descending on a swarm of grasshoppers, destroying a field of crops. They say the birds helped save the crops, and they have a better understanding now of how the early pioneers felt when the seagulls helped them out of all of that same situation years ago.
Are you just heading out the door this early hour? Everything is at normal speeds on the roads. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Boyd Matheson helps you to think about the news differently.
What the American people are looking for out of all sides of politics is just give me a vision.
Join an elevated conversation. Inside Sources from 1 to 3. Then Jeff Kaplan and his Minute of News on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
As I look at my path to the NFL, I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. Having a supporting cast for me made all the difference, both on and off the field. And the thing I realized this last year was having that supporting cast made my dreams and my goals a reality. I prepare as best as I can for every situation on the football field. You know, that same mindset applies to me as a husband, as a dad. And being a new father with an 8-month-old child, I've realized that I now have a responsibility to my son and to my wife, just like I do my teammates. I spend all my time being a quarterback, and I need to find people that I can trust and rely upon. Deseret First Credit Union, they are those people that are spending all that time to help me manage and take care of my family. My name is Taysom Hill, and my why is faith, family, and football.
Sounds like we almost have all of that snowpack finally coming down out of the mountains, but there's still enough that you could probably hike up and make a few turns in some areas. We're going to follow that story this morning with the help of our Adam Small.
5:39 now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Well, Amanda, not much slowdowns at the moment through the Salt Lake Valley. You'll see some heavy traffic on City Street, State Street, heading north through Sandy, but Bangor and Mountain View, both pretty good so far. And just a heads up, if you normally take 4800 West to get to the Old Bingham track station in West Jordan, that portion of 48th West between 90th and Old Bingham is closed because of a water main break that happened yesterday, and they've got to repair the road. So a lot of extra traffic going to be on Old Bingham trying to get to that track station this morning. Heather?
We've got pretty light traffic flow right now in Weber and Davis County and no accidents reported. We want to keep it that way, so that means everybody needs to be nice with each other on the roadways. Right now, you've got good speeds, no delays southbound I-15 between Ogden and Salt Lake. Same story on US 89 and I-84 if you weren't going through the mountains. Eric?
Over in Provo, we've got a little bit of slowdowns on University Parkway. This is at Freedom Boulevard for both directions. So that's about it in Utah County. I-15 looking good. As you roll through the county, all the city streets are looking good too. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
A little boundary of unstable air will move into the Wasatch Front,
providing a chance for some thunderstorms today. 84 the high. Overnight lows, low to mid-60s, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow's 85 and a slight chance for storms. Then we get hot for the weekend. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in Salt Lake City, a few clouds hanging around 63 degrees.
There's just too much marijuana. When I read this story, I thought, what is going on? There is all this legal marijuana, and nobody's buying it.
Yeah.
I think
they can still get it cheaper on the street.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get more from Jim Ryan just ahead on KSL News Radio.
So, one of those weird things in our society these days. We'll tell you more about it next at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. Tim and Amanda here to start your day on KSL News Radio, Utah's all-day companion for news.
At Your Service Pros Heating and Air recently received the following review on Yelp. I'm so glad I got a second opinion from At Your Service Pros. They identified the same items of work to be done, but gave me a much more realistic quote. I'll definitely use them again. Thanks, Seth. We're glad we were able to do the repairs for less than half of what the other company quoted him. There's a reason we're one of the highest rated companies on both Google and Yelp. If you want a free second opinion on your HVAC repairs, give us a call at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO.
Can an insurance bot ever really understand your needs?
Do you think I'd benefit from bundling my auto and home coverage?
Searching for homes with car dealerships nearby.
Sure, robots listen, but do they understand you? At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we'll help you save money and time by bundling your auto and home insurance. Find an agent at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Dave and Debbie.
One of my favorite things about Debbie is when we're in the middle of an interview, a light flips on and there's something that she picked out. I call it her spidey sense. And then she just tenaciously goes after that line of questioning. If someone tries to spin it, she's respectful, but she's firm. And she won't let you go with just that easy, trite answer. She's going to get down to the bottom of it, and I love it.
I've always been impressed with Dave's ability to go back in his memory bank and drag out factual details from previous interviews, weeks, months, even years ago. It is phenomenal to watch that happen because it adds so much context to our coverage in the moment. Dave's got it all right up here in his brain, and that's impressive.
This is a thing that Debbie does not do well. On-the-fly math.
I agree. So one thing I agree with him on.
Listen for Dave and Dejanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Good morning, KSL News Time 544. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah has had no days over 100 degrees this June, and while that may seem strange, it's actually the norm for the state. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, our record-breaking snowpack is almost completely melted in what experts say was a near-perfect spring.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
So far, the freeways crash-free and delay-free heading into Salt Lake City. And heading out of it, too, for that matter. Traffic a little bit busy, though. SR 201 now as you go through the Kennecott portion before you reach Magna coming from Tooele County. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mid-80s with a chance for PM thunderstorms. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 63 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
Another day, another set of flight woes for those trying to get home.
For the third straight day, New York City's three major airport hubs are experiencing the nation's highest numbers of delays and cancellations, and the ripple effects are being felt today.
ABC's Stephanie Ramos at Newark International Airport. Part of the problem is staffing. Part of the problem is the weather, storms and poor air quality. Chicago and Milwaukee had some of the worst air quality ratings in the world on Tuesday, thanks to the Canadian wildfire smoke. Dr. Jordan Moskoff at Moskoff-Stroger Hospital explains what happens when you breathe that stuff in.
Your bronchioles, which are the tubes that lead down to your lungs, are going to start to get a little bit more inflamed, and that's going to make them feel like they're closing off a bit.
The smoke is shifting east today. The Supreme Court striking down a controversial political theory that could have changed the way elections are held across the country. The court rejecting the idea that state legislatures have absolute power in setting the rules of federal elections. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
All right, this is an interesting story we want to take a closer look at. Too much illegal marijuana is causing closures of legitimate dispensaries.
ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan joins us live from Dallas. Help us understand this, Jim.
Well, perhaps it's no more pronounced and easily illustrated than it is in Oklahoma, where medical marijuana has been on the books for a couple of years now, and dispensaries have opened and have been doing okay. Now they have so much pressure from the illegal grows. There are thousands of something like 3,000 illegal growing operations around the state of Oklahoma. The state of Oklahoma produces 64 times the amount of marijuana that it needs to sell legally. So where is it all going? It's going out of state to places like Texas and Kansas, places where it's illegal. Utah, undoubtedly. So yeah, it's an issue, a growing problem, you might say, that they're finding in Oklahoma and spreading to other places, Manda.
Isn't it part of the problem, Jim, that it's actually cheaper, if you're talking about recreational marijuana, it's actually cheaper for those that want it to get it on the streets than it is to go to a dispensary?
Well, in a lot of cases it is. Washington State has found a way to reverse that somehow. Because of regulation, because of penalties for illegal growing operations, it's still cheaper to purchase legal marijuana in Washington State than it is illegal marijuana. But in a place like Oklahoma, where the only medical marijuana has become legal, you're finding that a lot of folks who were looking for the stuff without a medical marijuana license, are finding it very easy to get hold of and much cheaper than it would be in dispensaries.
Are they just not cracking down on illegal marijuana grows in Oklahoma?
Well, it's just a matter of proportion. You're talking, since in the last 2 years, regulators in Oklahoma say that they've busted up 800 illegal grow operations, illegal farms where it's being produced. The regulators say that there are about 3,000 grow operations under suspicion that they just can't get around to. In New York City, you've got just a handful of legal dispensaries, legal recreational dispensaries in the 5 boroughs, but hundreds that are operating under the radar. They don't charge the 13% sales tax that the legal shops do, and they're literally driving the legal ones, out of business. And again, it's a matter of lack of police enforcement and regulators.
And that's really the key, isn't it? That most of these states, if not all of these states, have legalized it simply because it's a tax revenue stream for them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Even states where, Oklahoma has you can't find much redder state than Oklahoma, and yet medical marijuana is legal there. And it's, generating a lot of tax revenue. And I mean, if you look at Virginia, for example, $198 million in projected revenue for this year. Connecticut, $297 million in revenue. So sure, it's seen as it's a major revenue generator for states where it's been made legal.
I'm surprised that more people wouldn't switch from illegal to legal rather than risk the possibility of prosecution.
Well, and yet prosecution has become so spotty, and in some cases it's off the books altogether. That possession of personal use marijuana, it's really not something that the police even go after anymore. So, yeah, it becomes a matter of economics. Do you go to a legal shop and pay $10, or do you go to an illegal source and pay $5 for twice as much?
Yeah, possession is usually the first charge that gets dropped when you're brought into court these days. All right, Jim, thank you for that. Here's the other thing that's happening on the other side, and Colorado's a good example. This tax revenue was sold, when they were looking for the legalization of it on the ballots, was sold as a way to help education. And then they find out that what was promised to be sent as far as taxes go to education isn't quite making it there.
Because the sales aren't what they thought they would. Oh, it's being used for other things.
It's being used for other things. So all of these little intricacies are really something to follow when you talk about the legalization of marijuana across the country. That is the in-depth this morning at 15 and 45. It's 5:49. Time for a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy, how are we looking out there?
Well, we're looking good if you're traveling on I-15 so far, and light traffic coming out of Tooele County on I-80. It is filling in on the 21st South Freeway. If you split off onto 201 and head through Magna, you'll see some spots where traffic gets a bit thicker, especially at the traffic lights at 84 and 7200 West. And Bangor right now, all clear in the West Valley portion, but a little bit heavy in the West Jordan portion near the 9800 South traffic light. Heather?
Traffic is still sailing along right now in Weber and Davis County on the major freeways, and we don't have a lot of delay yet getting into Hill Air Force Base, although all three gates are seeing a bit more congestion than we did about 20 minutes ago or so. But overall, it's a pretty good commute, whether you're on I-15, US 89, or Legacy Parkway. Eric?
Along the Wasatch Bank, US 40 looks just fine between Heber City and Park City, and I-80 through Parley's Canyon. You got dry roads, that's good, and no problems getting out to the Kimball Junction exit from the valley. I-15 Utah County, no problems there. Premium checking from America First is more than a regular account. In fact, it's so loaded with benefits and features it was voted best perks by Money.com. Apply for it today at AmericaFirst.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, mid-80s today and tomorrow. Chance for storms both days. Friday, mostly sunny, 87. Saturday, 92 and sunny skies. We'll go with ample sunshine on 96 on Sunday. Monday, 97, mostly sunny. And partly cloudy skies with a high of 96 for your 4th of July Tuesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Let me see where we are this morning. 64 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Here's something fun that's happening today. Delta Airlines is going to break ground on at the airport of its new state-of-the-art pilot training facility that'll happen here. This is one of the big hubs, obviously, for Delta in the country, the other being Atlanta, Georgia, and we benefit from that with the number of direct flights we have out of here.
Yeah.
But they'll be training some of their pilots here
cool.
today. Be a fun story to follow up on for you. Coming up in a minute, we'll see what's happening with money news. Last time we checked, it was a bit mixed this morning. After a great day yesterday, by the way, we were up over a full percentage point across the board. We'll check money news next.
Get ready, the Ute Stampede returns for the 89th edition. Flying U Rodeo brings the best to Nephi, Utah, July 13, 14, and 15, 8 p.m. nightly. Rodeo clown Matt Merritt, the extraordinary bull jumper Manu Latoste, and the legendary one-armed bandit John Payne. It's fun for the whole family. Heritage and Western Parade on Friday, Mammoth Parade on Saturday, Lions Club breakfast Friday and Saturday morning. City Fun Carnival open nightly till midnight. Join us July 13th through the 15th, Nephi, Utah, at the Juab County Fairgrounds. For more information and tickets, go to UteStampedeRodeo.com.
Quality, speed, value for your money, and $1,000 off any roof replacement. That's the IWC advantage. IWC, Intermountain West Contractors, delivers on the things most important to you when it comes time to replace your roof. There could be a dozen different reasons why your roof needs replacement, but just one answer to the problem: IWC. With IWC, you get quality because roof replacement is their specialty, and each job comes complete with the best warranties from the most trusted roofing material manufacturer in America. You get speed because IWC understands your time is valuable. In most cases, they can replace an entire roof in just one day. And with IWC, there's the value of knowing they use top-tier quality materials in every installation and deliver it all at an affordable price. And now, for a limited time, save $1,000 on a roof replacement project. Visit IWCroofing.com or call 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. A university in New York has filed a lawsuit against a cleaning company. They claim one of the cleaners destroyed 20 years of research by turning off a lab freezer containing sensitive cell cultures. They were talking about a value of over $1 million on this thing. According to the lawsuit, the freezer was beeping, which the cleaner turned off because he found it annoying.
I imagine there were signs on it that said, do not unplug or do not.
Yeah.
Prices for natural gas are less than half what they were last year. That's good news. Hopefully, this should mean lower electricity bills for many American households this summer.
A glitch in the Cash App has caused double charges on transactions, bringing some customers down into a negative account balance. The company announced they have found the cause of the glitch and all double charges will be refunded.
Futures markets are mixed at this hour. Dow futures are up 21. That's just a fraction. The S&P is down 6. That's 0.1%. And the Nasdaq futures off 51, which is 0.3%.
It's the 100-day countdown to Cougar football, brought to you by Bish's RV. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper.
The anticipation of the 2023 BYU football season is in large part due to the inaugural year in the Big 12 Conference. Head coach Kalani Sitake experienced the transition to a power league before, while he was an assistant at Utah back in 2011. The biggest takeaway he learned from that was making sure his players are playing at their best for the guaranteed opportunities they have during a given season.
So whether it's a P5 program or G5 or FCS, it doesn't matter to me. We need to make sure our team's ready to go, and that was our mindset in Independence. That's got to be our mindset still today. It's not really focused on our opponent. We know that we have Sam Houston, we know we have Southern Utah, and then we have Arkansas after that, and then before we get to the Big 12. So there's 12 games that are guaranteed on the schedule. We just need to make sure that we play our best 12 times, and my job is to get us ready for one.
Countdown to Cougar football. 66 days to go. I'm Mitch Harper, KSL Sports.
Boyd Matheson on the pitfalls of politics.
I think the biggest thing we all have to reject is the status quo. We have to reject the kind of politics that have been served up to us and that we've bought into. The biggest question for all of us is, what are we afraid of? And often what we're afraid of is losing power. Politicians often tell us, you can vote for whoever you want, but if you vote for someone other than me, you'll lose power, you'll lose influence. And we have to reject that. Our voting right is our most sacred and fundamental right. Vote for the best person, even if they're not in either political party. Some will try to convince you that's throwing your vote away and the evil, awful other side is going to win because of that. That's what they want you to believe. Because if you're functioning out of a position of fear, we all lose. You'll vote for the status quo, and that keeps the status quo in power.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Win great prizes from KSL News Radio. This week, win a pair of tickets to see the Beach Boys, July 14th at Snow Park Amphitheater. This summer, the Beach Boys return for 2 unforgettable nights, live with the Utah Symphony at the Deer Valley Music Festival. Or win a 4-pack of tickets to Lagoon. Lagoon, it's what fun is. Get started now by texting the word contest to 57500 or visit kslnewsradio.com/contests.
KSL News Time 5:59. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's High Yield Savings Certificates. Andy?
Amanda, traffic looks good through the valley on I-15, both directions between Salt Lake City and Draper right now. So far, so good on Bangerter Highway, but Mountain View beginning to fill in a little bit. Going out of West Jordan and then again around 3500 South West Valley. No Tooele County slowdowns at this time. Heather?
We're also seeing traffic get pretty busy southbound I-15 through the Clearfield-Layton area, but it's when you transition onto Legacy Parkway up in the Farmington area, we're seeing a bunch of delays right now southbound. I'm not sure if we have a crash or if more construction barrels are being put out, but something has brought traffic pretty much to a crawl between Farmington and Centerville if you're on Legacy Parkway. Eric?
Got some slowing on I-80 approaching the turnoff to go south on the 215 East Belt and into the mountains going by the East Canyon exit and in Lamps Canyon. All of this is eastbound. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know at prices you'll love. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Got a 20% chance of showers both today and tomorrow. 84 for a high eventually this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies this morning at 63.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
For the first time ever, Salt Lake City is choosing to have drone shows rather than fireworks for the 4th of July and Pioneer Day.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, it's going to look a lot different for sure, but the city says it's not only trying to mitigate wildfire risk, but also alleviate air quality concerns that come with traditional fireworks. In a statement, Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall says, quote, "We must be conscientious of both our air quality and the potential for wildfires." The drone shows will take place on Saturday, July 1st, not the 4th, at Jordan Park, and Monday, July 24th at Liberty Park. The shows are completely free to everyone. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Kids' brains aren't safe from any level of pollution. That's the finding of a new study of thousands of children. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston joins us live with more. Peter?
Tim, the breakthrough finding of this study is that there's a brain element to air pollution for kids and not just damage to the lungs or other tissues as we've known in the past. Researchers looked at kids' brains through MRI scans and measured the levels of airborne chemicals at their house. Then they rechecked their brains after 2 years. What they found was even the supposedly safe amounts of pollution left these young developing brains with higher or lower amounts of conductivity. The EPA is considering a change in levels of what's considered safe, and Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes is one of 20 attorneys general nationwide seeking to challenge that. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Summer Roadwork, special coverage on Utah's Morning News.
Summer construction season is here, and UDOT says you'll need to pack your patience. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts reports there's over 200 construction projects right now.
I used to drive my crying baby on I-80 in Sugar House because the worn-down gravel made the perfect road to lull her to sleep. And UDOT says that's just one of the 217 construction zones across the state right now. They're repaving, replacing bridges, and widening that freeway. The West Davis project, another big one, creating a new 4-lane divided highway. They're also updating Bangerter Highway, making 4 new freeway-style interstate changes.
UDOT says these projects cost about $3.2 billion.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The former Marine charged with choking a homeless man to death on a Manhattan subway is expected to be arraigned today. Daniel Penny says he was acting to protect himself and fellow passengers when he placed Jordan Neely in a chokehold that ended up being fatal.
Penny charged with second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide for the subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. It happened on May 1st on that Manhattan F train. The Marine veteran placed Neely in that chokehold for several minutes as others also helped restrain him, but only Penny has been charged. And in a video released by Penny's attorney, he explained why he did it.
I was scared for myself, but I looked around. I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats. I couldn't just sit still.
ABC's Derek Waller says that Penny is accused of keeping Neely in a chokehold for 3 minutes.
Utah Senator Mike Lee wants to roll back antitrust exemptions given to Major League Baseball. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson has more on the Competition in Professional Baseball Act.
Senator Lee believes a Supreme Court decision that ruled baseball games or exhibitions exempt from antitrust laws should be overruled by legislation.
There's no reason that Major League Baseball should be treated any differently than any other professional sports leagues in America.
According to KSL.com, Senator Bernie Sanders asked Congress to rescind baseball's exemption back when MLB and the Players Union reached a new labor agreement to end a months-long lockout.
Lee says competition is needed after recent controversy surrounding the Dodgers' Pride Night and the relocation of the All-Star Game from Atlanta.
Severe weather continues to cause a lot of problems and cancellations at airports back east. ABC's Lionel Moise says that can be added to all the problems caused by wildfire smoke coming in from Canada.
People from Wisconsin to Chicago seeing the worst air quality in the world yesterday. That smoke now moving east. Meanwhile, in the south, The historic heat wave, now entering a third week, is driving up emergency room visits. The Texas power grid broke an all-time record yesterday for electricity demand. The oppressive heat even breaking records at night, with low temperatures still in the 80s.
First look traffic now, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
And right now, travel on I-15 is fine into and out of Salt Lake, but we've got a crash on Legacy Parkway going south in Centerville at the moment. They're blocking both of the lanes. It looks like they're going to settle on things and keeping the crash in the left lane, and when they do let traffic go here in a minute, it'll be getting by in the right lane. We've already got almost a mile of backup on southbound Legacy going from Farmington to Centerville. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Boy, this is frustrating. Campsites across the country are fully booked months in advance, but many are also half empty. KSL News Radio's Andrew Gordon explains.
It turns out that many campers are making multiple bookings months in advance before their plans are fully set. When those plans change or the weather prohibits them from going, they simply don't show up and don't let the parks know they won't be there to avoid a cancellation fee. California is working on legislation that would turn cancellation fees into reservation credit that can be used in the next 5 years. The hope is to encourage cancellations when necessary and allow other campers to fill those campsites. Andrew Gordon, KSL News Radio.
The Fed releases the results of its annual bank stress test today.
Every year, the Federal Reserve tests the balance sheets of the nation's banks to see how they'd weather an economic downturn, something it started after the 2007 to 2009 financial crisis. Today's stress test is the first since the failures of Silicon Valley, Signature, and First Republic banks.
ABC's Daria Albinger says the annual tests compare a bank's balance sheet against various problems to determine how much capital each bank would need to survive.
Salt Lake City has been named the third best metro in the U.S. to start a career. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more on the bank rate ranking.
Salt Lake City is rated so high for a number of reasons. Mark Nold at the Department of Workforce Services says the city reflects the state in that demographics, undeveloped countryside, and economic diversity gives Utah a strong outlook for beginning workers.
Nold also says these opportunities spread from the Salt Lake metro area to other cities along the Wasatch Front.
4 out of 10 Californians say they are considering leaving the state. A new statewide poll shows most people enjoy living there, but economically, it's becoming a difficult challenge. California's population has actually decreased over the past 3 years.
They come for the weather and they leave for the taxes.
Yeah.
Big slowing southbound Legacy Highway between Farmington and Centerville thanks to a crash there. Boy, this is early this morning. We'll check your traffic and weather together coming up.
And the news is sponsored by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors.
Breaking news is just one ask away.
Claim KSL News Radio.
New trouble for Amazon.
Everything near the parks has turned into an Airbnb. In your home, tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio. Then listen in your car at 102.7 FM.
When interest rates rise, it's not all bad. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, helping you understand why now is the time to purchase an annuity. Annuities are the only products that will guarantee you an income you can't outlive. It's those guarantees that are tied to Treasury rates. And as we know, those rates are at 40-year highs. If you're in or within 10 years of retirement, use this to your advantage. This is exactly why it's possible to receive up to a 25% upfront bonus for income, and why it is possible to receive up to 10% per year for income growth. It's because of the high interest rates. Don't let anyone tell you it's not true, but also don't wait. Interest rates and these guarantees will eventually come down. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Guarantees are based on claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. If you want a heating and air company that uses third-party verification of their work, that is one of the highest rated on both Google and Yelp, then call At Your Service Pros at 801-YOUR-PRO.
Hi, Doug Wright, along with Steve Sales. We just did a movie show this past week at NPS, and we have such a good time when we're there, when we talk with Julie and Igor and their great crew. But boy, the bottom line is the savings. And it's in every department.
Absolutely. 30 to 70% off. 4 locations, 2 in Salt Lake on 1600 South Empire Road, right across from each other. I love going in there because I love the joy of discovery is what makes me excited, and I find things all the time.
You know, the other locations would be down in Orem and then also in Layton. And Steve's absolutely right. You never know what you're going to find. I mean, there are things you can count on when you're doing grocery shopping. But good grief, they will buy a truckload of something, and it is unusual. The price is spectacular. And boy, as Igor always says, if you see it, buy it, because you snooze, you lose. It's NPS. We like to think of it as a nice place to shop.
Well, we learned yesterday that the mayor of Salt Lake City has decided no fireworks for 4th of July or Pioneer Day. It'll be drone shows instead.
I'm actually sort of excited to see what that looks like. I mean, I wonder if can the drones do like a flag in the air?
They can do anything.
Yeah.
And like fireworks that are based on the number of minutes you get, drone shows are based on the number of drones that are involved. And the more drones, the bigger the show. So that part of it's going to be interesting. Yeah. We'll follow it this morning with our Adam Small. KSL News Time now 6:09. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the nines. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. We've got a problem already, Andy?
Yeah, it's Davis County, southbound I-15 in Centerville. Or it's not I-15, it's on Legacy in Centerville, but it's a little bit before you get to the Parish Lane exit. Had a crash. They blocked both lanes temporarily. They are letting traffic go by on the right now. Still have about a mile of delay, and it's only getting worse. Those of you coming south and from Farmington, if you're on I-15 or Highway 89, I'd stay on 15 down into Parish Lane and then maybe head over to Legacy there if you need to do it that way. Heather?
Drivers in the Salt Lake Valley shouldn't have too many problems right now, although traffic is filling in northbound I-15 from Point of the Mountain into downtown Salt Lake. Right now, everybody's still traveling at speed. We have had some heavier pockets of traffic on the 201 freeway eastbound through the Magna area, and so far, no problems, no delays coming out of Tooele County on SR 36 or I-80. Eric?
And I-15's running at a normal pace in Utah County. You're looking at 22 minutes northbound from Springfield to Point of the Mountain. Some of the city streets starting to see a little bit more activity, but no major delays any place. And through Provo Canyon, 189 looks good if you're going out to Heber City this morning. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at a chance for some thunderstorms today, high of 84. Overnight lows in the low to mid 60s, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow we'll go 85, and another round of PM storms are possible. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Waking up this morning to 63 degrees.
We were talking about this the other day, Tim. Why do some people get in the race for president? Like the new guy who just got in, Representative Will Hurd of Texas. I've never heard of him. What's the motivation there? I mean, is it really he thinks he has a chance of becoming the president or something else?
Well, I think it's different for everybody that gets in. Maybe they want to raise their political profile, or maybe they want a position in a cabinet or a vice president run. I don't know.
We're going to talk to 538's Jeffrey Skelly coming up in a moment on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. And thanks again for starting your morning with Tim and Amanda on KSL News Radio, Utah's all-day companion for news.
You know how when something goes wrong with a company you have an experience with, boy, you want to tell everybody, don't go there, that company is terrible. Maybe we should be quicker to share with people when something really great happens with a company. And I want to tell you about Superior Water and Air because I have had great experiences with them for 20 plus years. When something breaks down in my house, and if you're a homeowner, that's going to happen. If it's a couple of weeks ago, it was my water heater. And I called and they were just, their response is always, we got this. And the guy comes out, his name was Alma. And he was awesome and knowledgeable and found an electrical short, and it was just that easy.
Well, because they handle so many different things, they will be in your home more often than others. And we've talked about this before. It can be uncomfortable to invite somebody into places in your home that nobody else comes, like the furnace room. But they always come. They're always friendly. They always have, great professional skills. I enjoy just shadowing them just to see exactly what's going on. And I've told this story before. They actually saved us quite a bit of money because they figured out that the motor that was going out in our furnace was actually still under warranty, and it cost us nothing.
Yeah, they want to take care of your family for the entire time you own this home. They're not going to come out there and try and make one big sale and then you'll never see them again. That's just not what they do. You can trust Superior Water and Air.
Have the number handy, too, just in case of an emergency, 801-974-9090, and you'll always find them online at superiorwaterandair.com.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. Howard Tucker said, if you're blessed to have a career you enjoy, consider delaying retirement. People who retire are at an increased risk of cognitive decline. Who is Howard Tucker? Well, he's a 100-year-old doctor from Cleveland, Ohio, who still practices medicine. My 93-year-old mother, who no longer practices medicine, last year renewed her nursing license. just to keep her mind active and her professional identity intact. Retirement after 65 was for dinosaurs. Business and government need to realize that most of the current generation will work one way or another into their 70s and 80s. Work done right can enhance the quality of life. Enhance the quality of your life with an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Good morning, KSL News Time 6:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
for the first time ever, Salt Lake City will host a drone show rather than a traditional fireworks show for the 4th of July and Pioneer Day. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, UDOT is busy working on over 200 road construction projects this summer, which cost around $3.2 billion.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
We got backups on Legacy Parkway going south from Farmington to Centerville because of a crash blocking the left lane. It's north of Parish Lane by maybe a half mile or so, but you've got quite a bit of delay to wait through if you're heading south on Legacy in Farmington this morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, a chance for thunderstorms today and tomorrow, and then the heater turns on. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 64 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Coast-to-coast chaos as severe weather and an FAA staffing shortage continue to disrupt air travel. All that ahead of what's expected to be the busiest 4th of July travel week on record. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has the latest from Newark International Airport.
More than 11,000 flights canceled or delayed Monday and more than 9,000 Tuesday. And the ripple effects growing this morning. Days of bad weather causing an already fragile system to melt down into a cascade of cancellations, leaving travelers stranded, sleeping on cots, some on the ground, with nowhere to go from New Jersey to Denver.
Hundreds more flights, most of them in the Northeast, canceled or delayed already today. Smoke from Canadian wildfires and the Texas heat dome expanding to include more states besides Texas. ABC's Lila Moise has the latest on the weather.
People from Wisconsin to Chicago seeing the worst air quality in the world yesterday. That smoke now moving east. Meanwhile, in the south, the historic heat wave now entering a third week is driving up emergency room visits. The Texas power grid broke an all-time record yesterday for electricity demand. The oppressive heat even breaking records at night, with low temperatures still in the 80s.
We now know the location of mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who tried to lead his Wagner group onto Moscow last weekend before they turned around and he headed to Belarus. ABC chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell has more on the suspected coup and Vladimir Putin's reaction from Ukraine.
Prigozhin now in exile in neighboring Belarus with a huge security force, and now the president of Belarus, who brokered the deal to end the mutiny and the march on Moscow, revealing that Putin raised the possibility of killing Prigozhin. Lukashenko is saying he told the Wagner leader that Putin intended to, quote, squash him like a bug.
Missile strike on a popular pizza restaurant in eastern Ukraine, killing 10, including 3 children. You're listening to ABC News.
Former Texas Representative Will Hurd is one of the newest people to throw his hat into the presidential race ring.
Joining us live from New York is 538.com senior elections analyst Jeffrey Skelly. Tim and I were just talking, Jeffrey, about why does a person like Representative Hurd jump into this race?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's always sort of a balance between someone's self-belief, but also perhaps what in the long run could raise their profile, especially for, a candidate who's not as well known as Hurd, whether it's sort of a future in the party or in this case, it may just be a sincere effort to want to reshape the Republican Party and a conservative image that Hurd promotes, maybe not so much one that is like the one that former President Donald Trump is talking about.
Well, and every once in a while, somebody like Chris Christie gets in and just pulls the curtain back and says, look, I'm here to do a little Trump bashing, and that he feels like that's his job.
Yeah, and so actually what we have is essentially a group now of like 4 or 5 either sort of fiercely anti-Trump or at least Trump skeptical candidates who are running in this primary race, but they're kind of fighting over a small slice of the pie. I described it as kind of like getting into a crowded elevator in an old apartment building. It's small and cramped, and there are already a lot of people in here. Do you really want to be in this thing? And that's sort of what Hurd's candidacy, it gives that off a little bit.
And doesn't the former president still have a considerable lead in the polls?
Yes. In our primary poll average at 538, we have Donald Trump at about 52% in Republican primary polls nationally. So yeah, it's going to be tough. You need the anti-Trump, Trump skeptical, and Trump, but with someone else not named Trump group to maybe coalesce to really take him on. And that hasn't happened yet, and we'll see if it does.
Well, it seems like each of these candidates is going under the assumption that one of these indictments is going to knock him back in those polls and give them an opportunity, but it doesn't seem to be happening.
Right, and I think that is maybe part of the hope, is that you might reach, kind of a critical mass. But given Trump's history and many scandals and other things that he has survived in the past, and how he's remained very popular among the Republican base, I don't think there's necessarily a huge chance of that. But obviously, who knows? You have to always be open to the unexpected.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, isn't it? Thank you, Jeffrey. 538.com senior elections analyst Jeffrey Skelly with us.
I noticed this morning that is it Virginia Governor Youngkin?
Yeah.
Who said that he was not going to make a run in 2024, maybe reconsidering. So there still could be more that jump in here.
Yeah, likely will be.
Yeah. We'll continue to follow it, of course, on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, traffic on I-15 rolling through the valley this morning as you head from Draper to downtown. Starting to see some busier traffic in Tooele County, though, on SR 36, going through Stansbury Park to get to Lake Point. So far, no extra travel time on Bangerter Highway, and I've been keeping an eye on 4800 West, 90th South, that stretch in West Jordan, where the water main break has affected 48th West and has it closed between 90th South and Old Bingham Highway this morning. Heather?
Legacy Parkway is the problem up in Davis County. Southbounders will have about 2 miles of delay as you go from Farmington, head toward Parish Lane and Centerville. It's due to a crash still blocking the left lane. The right lane is open, but you might be better off sticking with I-15 southbound and then get onto Legacy from Parish Lane, and you'll avoid all of that backup and delay. Also, northbound Legacy Parkway has construction right where I-215 joins northbound Legacy, so that can slow you down from time to time. But everybody else is moving along pretty well right now. Eric?
In Utah County, you're at a normal pace northbound from Provo to the county line. It's a 20-minute drive if you're getting on University Avenue. No problems getting over to the freeway from Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs so far. Pioneer Crossing and 2100 North both look good. And northbound on Redwood Road going up to Camp Williams, that's also in good shape. This is the place, Heritage Park. Don't miss July celebrations and fun-filled days, including Liberty Day, Super Duper Day, and Pioneer Day. Activities all summer. Visit thisistheplace.org. Eric Butler, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. 84 today with a chance for storms. We'll go 85 tomorrow, lesser chance, but still a slight chance for some PM storms. 87 and mostly sunny for your Friday. We move into Saturday, 92, sunny skies. High pressure right overhead on Sunday, 96 degrees. We'll go 97 on Monday. How about partly cloudy and 96 for your 4th of July. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And we start the morning at 64 degrees. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
You were just showing me some drone shows on YouTube. Man, they're exciting. I think it's going to be fantastic. It'll be. They could even make it look exactly like fireworks. You just won't have, bits of firework hitting you in the face.
Now, what we're looking at is a world record. There were 5,200 drones in this one in China last year that beat the other Guinness World Record by like 2,600 drones. So that's probably the high end of it.
But even half of that would be awesome. And do you have a feeling about that? Are you an old school type that you want the regular fireworks? Or are you excited about drone shows in Salt Lake? You can text us anytime on the Cypress Credit Union KSL text line 57500.
Mixed bag on the market so far this morning. We'll check your money news coming up next.
Men who have given up in their intimate life because of prostate issues, testicular cancer, or simply no ED treatments you've tried have worked. It's not the end. At Summit Men's Health, they have a customized approach for each individual patient to get results they desire and deserve. Stop wasting your time and money with treatments that don't work for most men, like Shockwave, Viagra, or the shots. Summit Men's Health guarantees results in your first visit, or you don't pay. Call Summit Men's Health today and get the spark back in your relationship. Summit Men's Health, 435-500-2790. They're so confident this will work for you, they promise if you don't get results on your first visit, they pay you $500 cash, no questions asked. Call Summit Men's Health today at 435-500-2790. That's 435-500-2790 to get the passion back in your love life.
Smart, connected, modern. Discover life-enhancing independent living services at Trio South Ogden. They do things a little differently there because you're different. With everything you need to support your best self, you'll find that joy isn't just for the young, it's for the young of heart. Trio South Ogden's signature programs provide a unique approach to wellness that brings living well and well-being to life. To learn more, contact Trio South Ogden at 801-475-4004 or visit triosouthodden.com.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. After mass layoffs at big tech companies, these workers are being pursued by industries you wouldn't normally associate with tech work. The industries include hotel chains, railroad companies, investment firms, and the country's largest employer, the federal government.
Some social media platforms are adding new parental controls after investigation over how they impact teens' health. Critics say it's not enough since the kids and parents need to choose to use them rather than a blanket application over all user profiles.
KSL Drives, a possible shortage of lithium is threatening automakers who use the lithium for electric car batteries. This deficit would be a huge obstacle for industry plans to increase electric car sales.
Yesterday, the markets were all up. The Dow was up over a full percent, or close to 0.75 of a percentage point. It was the S&P that was up for a full percent, and the NASDAQ up 1.5%. We're going to give some of that back today. We're off 6 on the Dow, 9 on the S&P, and 59 on the NASDAQ.
Legacy Parkway is bottled up southbound from Farmington to Centerville. We have a crash there that's being cleared. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Are you or someone you take care of as their caregiver living with Alzheimer's disease? This study just might be for you. Consider participating in a Therus clinical trial exploring a novel repair and regenerative approach to Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City is looking for people with mild to moderate dementia, 55 to 85 years old. A consistent caregiver or support person is necessary for the conduct of this study. This study is a late-stage clinical study of an investigational drug for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research has over 30 years' experience with clinical trials. They conduct their business with professionalism, efficiency, and integrity. Contact Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City today. Again, call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com. That's pantheonclinical.com.
Summer celebrations are almost here.
You can let off your own fireworks until 11 p.m. on the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, midnight on the 4th.
And the fireworks stands are open.
Even if it's green, it can still burn.
Don't burn down Utah. And come here for updates on safety and restrictions. KSL News Radio, your summertime fun companion for news.
Join KSL this Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. for a special movie show located at the Megaplex Theaters, The District in South Jordan. The movie show this Thursday at the Megaplex at the District.
Just so you know, most of our texters weighing in on the side of fireworks in the first little while.
I bet.
Let's check your traffic and weather together here at 6:29. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Let's go back over to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, if you're on traveling through the Salt Lake Valley, I-15 continues to look good for the time being. Some heavy traffic starting to appear in the sandy portion, but not adding to your drive time, and people maintaining the speed limit even through that. Mountain View, though, you got a little bit of delay at 6200 south if you're heading north. Tooele County, traffic just a bit busy going south through Stansbury Park right now as much as it is going north, so that's a bit of a switch. Heather?
Legacy Parkway still only has one right lane open as you approach Parish Lane in Centerville. That's due to a pretty bad crash that had both lanes of the roadway on Legacy closed for a while. Traffic is backed up a couple of miles into Farmington, but once you get past it all, things are looking good the rest of the way on Legacy as you hook onto the west side belt. I-15 starting to see some slowing as well at around 200 north in Kaysville, but no problems on US 89 right now. Eric?
Going out to Park City, I-80 looks good through Parley's Canyon this morning along the Wasatch Back. No problems on US 40 between Heber City and Park City. Down Utah County, we are still looking good on the freeway. It's about a 24-minute drive northbound from Spanish Fork up to the point of the mountain. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have a chance of showers today, both today and tomorrow, actually. Today's high will be about 84 degrees. We'll stay in the 80s until Saturday when we hit the 90s. Right now, downtown, 64 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
More than 99% of the statewide snowpack has melted, and some experts are saying the snowmelt went as good as it possibly could have.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, Mother Nature was extra generous this year, not only giving us an average of 30 inches of water in that snowpack, but also giving us just the right temperatures to get it all down without extreme flooding.
Everything just kind of melted slowly, so we did kind of fill the reservoirs, and at the same time, we did not see any significant flooding. So it actually turned out pretty great.
As National Weather Service meteorologist Linda Chang, KSL.com reports all that water has boosted our reservoirs to 86% full on average across the state when they were only 42% full last summer. There's still some specks of snow on the mountains, of course, but with highs getting up into the 90s this weekend, they may not be around for much longer. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We're nearing the end of June without having hit 100 degrees along the Wasatch Front. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
This summer could go either way, above or below the 30-year average temperature. And while this past month has felt much cooler than recent years, it's actually pretty normal. The extreme heat we've had over the last 2 years is not normal. A high-pressure ridge above the state kept cold fronts away, favoring hot and dry conditions.
Meteorologists are also certain we won't see a 100-degree day this June, unlike last year when we saw 3.
Hot playgrounds can mean your child could overheat at a faster rate as the weather warms up. KSL News Radio's Dale Spalding has the story.
Intermountain Health Memorial Clinic general pediatrician Dr. Peter Lindgren says one way to keep kids cool is to avoid playing during the hottest times of day. I asked how you can tell if your child is dehydrated.
The first things that people typically tend to see, kids tend to get tired, and they also tend to get irritable.
Dr. Lindgren suggests checking the weather and keeping water on hand. He says one indicator for a heat-related emergency is a change in the skin. If their skin goes from hot to clammy, you need to seek help. Dr. Lindgren adds if your child gets a burn from hot playground toys, be sure to pour water over the burn site to cool the area. Dale Spalding, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Homes and businesses have been evacuated now in Scottsdale, Arizona, as firefighters battle a fast-moving brush fire that put dozens of homes in danger.
The fire is estimated at about 700 acres per our air attack.
Fire management spokesperson Tiffany Davila says the Diamond Fire, as it's been called, multiplied in size last evening, and they're calling in additional air support.
Residents in Bountiful are growing tired of a new trend of people throwing water balloons and other items at them and their cars. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with the story. Peter?
Amanda, police say they've handed out 10 tickets so far for people using water balloons, paintball guns, and airsoft weapons on local residents. And Assistant Chief Dave Edwards hopes to stop this before it gets worse.
Try to slow this down before we get into a scenario where it turns into road rage, where somebody's simply angry and it turns from kids throwing water balloons into a fight or an assault.
He's hoping parents talk to their kids about avoiding this trend. It's unclear whether this is in the vein of other TikTok trends that had students stealing toilets and lockers from their schools, for instance. Whoever does partake in this trend will earn themselves an assault charge, according to police. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A South Jordan family feeling unsettled after discovering bullet holes in their house. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
South Jordan police are still investigating who took a shot at a home in Daybreak.
We face into like a communal garden, so it's super weird.
KSL TV met with a homeowner who wished to remain anonymous after discovering the bullets in a hallway closet after penetrating the front door.
Well, I freaked out. We had a baby in the house, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like the perfect height for her head.
The homeowner just wishes she knew how it happened and that whoever did it will hold themselves accountable.
I'm just concerned that it might be like a kid that has access to a gun that got a hold of it last night and accidentally shot it off.
Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
And we've got that slowdown in Davis County on Legacy, backed up going south from Farmington to Centerville. A crash still blocking the left of the two lanes going towards Paris Lane. But we're also beginning to see some I-15 slowdowns around the Kaysville on-ramp. And we still have the backups going from 215 on the Legacy in North Salt Lake. Not much else on the freeways at the moment. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
New charges today against a New York lawyer accused of being a serial rapist. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more.
The 35-year-old just weeks ago was charged with 7 other counts of rape and kidnapping for alleged attacks on 4 women during the same time period a decade and a half ago. He was set free this month after his fiancée posted a $500,000 bond. Before his arrest, authorities used genealogy websites to identify Nilo, later tracking him down at a corporate event and matching DNA from a water glass to 4 of his alleged victims. Responding to the new charges, Nilo's attorney says his client denies all the allegations. You can expect both a legal and factual challenge to the government's case.
Fujii says that Matthew Nilo has been indicted in connection with 5 more sexual assaults in Boston dating back to 2007 and 2008.
Former President Trump is offering an explanation about the audio recording where he mentions having classified documents.
Trump telling ABC's Rachel Scott, "If you want to know the truth, it was bravado. I was talking and just holding up papers and talking about them, but I had no documents." Trump spoke to Rachel after ABC News aired the recording from a meeting at Trump's New Jersey Golf Club in 2021. In which Trump described a document he says was compiled by former Trump Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley outlining a potential attack on Iran.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret.
ABC's Justin Finch says the audio recording is quoted in the indictment related to Trump's handling of classified documents.
The sudden death of former NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett is drawing attention to a surge in rip current deaths along the Gulf Coast. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
The National Weather Service says in just the past 2 weeks, rip currents have claimed the lives of 11 people along Florida's Gulf Coast. A lifeguard on Panama City Beach performed more than 3 dozen rescues on Saturday alone. Rip currents flow at speeds up to 5 miles per hour. That's faster than most Olympic swimmers. Experts say if you're caught in one, do not swim directly back to shore against the current. Instead, swim parallel to the shore. And of course, listen to the warnings from lifeguards.
Norwood says that Mallett died after being caught in a rip current just off Destin, Florida.
Northbound and southbound delays on Legacy Parkway in different spots this morning. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Start your day with all news in the morning. Then hear Dave and Dejanovic talk about the biggest stories from 9 to noon.
Crashes every single day because of road rage.
A concern for Utah drivers.
Breaking news, important talk, all morning on KSL News Radio.
With the economy the way it is, you're probably staying put. So invest in your home, your number one asset, with beautiful custom replacement windows from Advanced Window Products. They're a local Utah company building beautiful vinyl framed and insulated double pane windows for 37 years right here in Salt Lake City. Advanced Window Products will save you money on your energy bill. Get security features to keep your family safe. And at Advanced Window Products, it's all custom. And the best part? They're local. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. You save on the highest quality windows in Utah. Plus, Rocky Mountain and Dominion offer rebates. For a limited time, they offer 60-month 0% financing. And right now, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more. They're working 8 weeks out. So make the call now. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100 or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Premium checking from America First Credit Union is so much more than a regular checking account. It's a saves you money, makes life easier, always has your back account, because it's absolutely loaded with fantastic benefits and features. In fact, it comes stocked with so much awesome stuff. It was voted Best Perks by Money.com. So make sure you're rocking more than a checking account. Head to America First and apply for the exclusive protection, perks, and paybacks of premium checking today. Subject to membership eligibility and conditions. Federally insured by NCUA. Since 1939, America First has been helping people pursue their financial goals. And as we have, we've become one of the largest credit unions in the country. The reason why is simple. It's because every day we do our very best to help each person, family, and business we serve to realize their individual dreams and achieve financial well-being. True to our name, we always strive to put our members and employees first. So come join us and let us put you first. America First Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Keeping an eye on the weather today, it looks like we're going to escape June without any 100-degree temperatures, which is nice. And we, according to the meteorologist, had the perfect spring. Adam Small is following this story for us just ahead.
No argument from me on that. 6:39, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County has been pretty decent this morning. It continues right now, although we're starting to see a little slow spot appear over on 215's west side, just before you reach the Valley Fair Mall, 3500 south portion of West Valley. Not sure why things are running slow just at the moment. Looks like maybe a new crash or stalled vehicle, something pulled over. Actually does. Looks like a crash at the beginning of the 35th south exit, blocking a couple of right lanes. And so traffic in the far right lane able to get by, and the others are having to move to the far left. Traffic's also a little bit heavier now in Magna, 21st South Freeway at 7200 West. Heather?
We have typical rush hour delays southbound I-15 from Layton Parkway to the Kaysville Ponds, and I'd recommend staying on I-15 all the way into downtown Salt Lake, because if you transition onto Legacy Parkway, you'll just hit a wall of traffic from Farmington to just before the Parish Lane exit in Centerville. It's due to a crash still blocking the left lane. Only one right lane is getting through there. Now, once you get past all of that, traffic is pretty good the rest of the way of wherever it is that you're going. Eric?
I-15 looks solid in Utah County from Provo and Orem up to Thanksgiving Point on the northbound side. No problems there. Going out through the mountains, Provo Canyon looks good on 189, as does Parley's Canyon on I-80. Upgrade your countertops with beautiful quartz or granite. With Bedrock Quartz, it's only 7 days from template to installation, with showrooms in Layton, West Jordan, St. George, and Pleasant Grove. BedrockQuartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at a chance for some thunderstorms today, high of 84. Overnight lows in the low to mid 60s, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow we'll go 85, and another round of PM storms are possible. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
We're in the 60s all along the Wasatch Front. Provo 60, Ogden 61 this hour, and in Salt Lake City 63 degrees.
coming up in just a moment, we'll hear more about President Trump reacting to that now commonly heard audio recording. He's saying that it was just bravado. More on that just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. It's Tim and Amanda here to get your Wednesday started from your all-day companion for news.
Hi, folks. It's Doug and Kathy with Window World.
Doug, it's amazing. J.D. Power has named Window World #1 in customer satisfaction again.
It never gets old when your customers say you're the best.
You mean that's not a made-up story?
It's not made up when you take pride in what you do and pay attention to detail.
Enjoy the value thousands of others have experienced. Call the window company you can trust. Window World, 801-281-8111, or visit windowworldutah.com.
And that's no baloney.
With our roots in northern Utah, Holy Cross Hospital has a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and equally honored to care for Northern Utah's vibrant communities. Find us at 5 Holy Cross Hospital locations and more than 45 clinics along the Wasatch Front. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
Jeff Kaplan's here this morning with his Minute of News.
You've heard this a lot. It's the first time in history a president's been indicted. But a U.S. president has been arrested before. A story hushed over for decades, but since confirmed by historians and the Washington, D.C. police chief. The perp President Ulysses S. Grant. The year 1872. The place, 13th Street Northwest, Washington. Our story begins with President Grant pulled over for speeding. No, there were no cars yet, or sirens. It was a horse and a carriage and a president with the need for speed. President Grant loved maximum horsepower, and there he was barreling through a neighborhood where a child had recently been run over by a speeding horse. Officer William H. West pulled him over and recognized it was President Grant, and he let him off with a warning. But the next night, Grant was back at the reins, rumbling over the cobblestones, and Officer West pulled him over a second time. The president, who is said to have seen the bottom of many a whiskey bottle, seemed cocky, smug. He offered the same age-old excuse that you would. I had no idea I was speeding. So Officer West arrested the president and hauled him into the station, where Grant put up $20 bail and went home. By the way, there was no president on that 20. They hadn't started doing that yet. We know this story because 3 decades later, Officer West, a black Civil War veteran, told the story, and he had the receipts proving that he's the only man ever to arrest the President of the United States. As for Ulysses S. Grant, he's now on the $50 bill. And in my hometown, speeding will cost you 3 of them.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
That's pretty good impersonation.
Yeah, I felt like we ought to give this little disclaimer that the part of Ulysses S. Grant was played by one Jeffrey Kaplan this afternoon. He'll be here, back from vacation at 3 o'clock to help you get home. KSL News Time now, 6:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Bountiful residents are seeing an outbreak of water balloon assaults. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, a South Jordan family is feeling unsettled after discovering bullet holes in their house, and they have no idea where they came from.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Traffic's still backed up on southbound
Jacked
Legacy.
up might work, too.
I mean, jacked up's probably a pretty good description for the mile and a half of delays you're going south on Legacy. But we've also got a crash over on 215's westbelt. They just pushed it over to the right shoulder, but it's right before you get to the Valley Fair Mall 3500 South exit. It's backing you up a couple blocks. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, chance for thunderstorms today? How about a high of 84? I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 63 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
Air quality issues that plagued the East Coast a while back now hitting Chicago and Milwaukee due to those wildfires in Canada. ABC's Alex Perez in Chicago says it's been bad but should start to clear up soon.
Chicago's air listed in the unhealthy category, meaning it could be harmful for some, especially those with respiratory issues. The conditions prompting Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson to issue a statement warning people to avoid strenuous activities and limit their time outdoors.
That smoky air, part of the problem, but not all of the problem behind thousands of flight cancellations and delays at airports. Air traffic staffing issues in the Northeast also having an effect nationwide. President Biden will be in Chicago today presenting his new economic plan. The White House calls it Bidenomics. Following the aborted mutiny by Wagner Group mercenaries, NATO is now reacting by beefing up Europe's eastern flank. Missile strike on a pizza parlor in eastern Ukraine leads to 10 deaths, 3 of them children, more than 60 others wounded. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Former President Trump is reacting now to the highly publicized audio recordings where he talks about having classified documents.
We get the update this morning from America in the Morning's Linda Kenyon.
It is part of a conversation with the former president, an author, and a book publisher. 2 Trump staffers were also present for the discussion, which took place in July of 2021 at Trump's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Trump has been charged with 37 counts in the classified documents case. They include 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information in violation of the Espionage Act. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges, but the audio recording seems to counter that. For example, you can hear the former president as he shuffles through papers saying the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, not Trump himself, wanted to attack Iran. You can also hear Trump saying, I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look.
Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look.
Trump goes on to say he has all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look.
And then he asserts that the evidence he is holding up exonerates him, except, he acknowledges, it is highly confidential.
This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret.
And here, he seems to undercut his frequent assertions that he declassified all of the documents. But on the audio recording, he says he did not declassify this document, and now it's too late.
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't.
Legal experts say audio of a defendant is just about the strongest evidence any prosecutor could hope for. But on his Truth social media platform, Trump had the opposite view. He wrote, quoting here, "The deranged special prosecutor Jack Smith, working in conjunction with the DOJ and FBI, illegally leaked and spun a tape and transcript of me, which is actually an exoneration, rather than what they would have you believe." Lindy Kenyon, Washington.
We'll continue to follow that story, of course, for you here on KSL News Radio.
6:49, it's time for us to get a look at traffic and weather together, which we do every 10 minutes on the nines. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Let's go back over to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, those delays on 215 West are still really thick between 47th and 35th South. There's a crash on the right shoulder. Or at least a vehicle that broke down. I only see one with its hood up, and then the rest are emergency vehicles. Nevertheless, you will see an extra couple of minutes as you travel past that issue going up towards 3500 South. Bangerter is getting a lot worse in Taylorsville, 47th, and in West Valley at 3500 South, you'll see backups. Mountain View also seeing delay in that same stretch approaching 3500 South. Heather?
The delays are getting longer now. Southbound I-15 from Layton Parkway to the Kaysville Ponds. If you transition from I-15 onto Legacy Parkway, you're still going to hit a wall of traffic approaching the Parish Lane exit in Centerville. The good news is the crash that started all these delays has been moved over to the right shoulder, so both lanes of traffic are now open through that stretch of Legacy Parkway. Northbound Legacy Parkway also has road construction coming off of I-215. Only one lane available there, and that's starting to slow traffic down as we get more and more cars on the roadway. Eric?
I-15 looks good in Utah County. A 20-minute drive from Provo to Point of the Mountains. You're getting on University Avenue. University Avenue northbound, though, from about 300 south up to the BYU campus, you're going to see some delays at some of those stoplights. While you were spring cleaning, did you check your drains? From kitchen sinks to main lines, Big Brothers Home Services is here for you 24/7. BigBrothersHomeservices.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Mid-80s today. We'll go chance for storms by afternoon and evening. 85 on Thursday. Chance for storms again. 87 on your Friday. Mostly sunny skies. We'll then go to sunny skies as we work into Saturday and Sunday. Low to mid-90s. Then it's just hot. 97 on Monday. Partly cloudy on the 4th of July. 96. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And let's see where we are this morning. We're at 63 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We asked this question this morning about whether you prefer fireworks or drones for 4th of July, because the Salt Lake City mayor has said it'll be drones this year. And I hadn't thought of this angle, but one of our texters says, I have kids who are autistic and sound sensitive, so a drone show might be a better option for us.
That's interesting.
My dogs will also be appreciative because they're usually hunkered under the bed for at least a week as fireworks go off late in the evening.
And there aren't the fire dangers that there would be. I think we should reserve judgment until we see it, because it might be awesome.
And that's what you're going to get in Salt Lake City this year, according to the mayor. We'll follow that story for you this morning, and we'll check money news coming up next.
I am really frustrated with anything that wastes my time. I think I probably, like a lot of our listeners, that I tend to be impatient, and because time is so precious. And one of the things that unexpectedly has saved me a lot of time in my life was losing weight. I did not realize how much time I spent obsessing about weight, how much time I spent trying to figure out if I had a jacket that would cover my waist with that skirt, how much time I figured out where I could get more snacks. I just obsessed about it all the time. Losing weight has given me all that time back. And I did it on the Soda Weight Loss Program. I lost 34 pounds. I've kept it off for a year and a half.
And you don't realize until you go through that exercise how much it affects everything in your life. And it's that whole approach that Soda talks about that made such a difference for my daughter who lost 42 pounds. They say that 80% of any life change comes from the mind. And so they don't just work on the intake of calories.
Right.
They work on the entire thing. And that's part of why there's a nutritionist there that's at your disposal when you need to chat or when you weigh in. From home, by the way, every week. Find out more about this great program. It's Sota Weight Loss. You'll find them online at sotaweightloss.com. It's spelled S-O-T-A. Think Tim and Amanda. Sota Weight Loss is state-of-the-art.
You could throw your flip-flop at a bug.
Ew, a bug, get it.
But the chances of actually hitting it
Over there.
are statistically
It's still alive.
unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Stem bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants, like lemongrass and geraniol, and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Good news, your 4th of July cookout will cost a little less than it did last year, but you have to remember 2022 was a record year. The average cost, this just blows my mind, a party of 10, they say, is $67.73. Now, technically, that's 3% less than last year. So
Yeah.
you were saying, okay, so you get chips and dogs.
But no, the list is good.
Yeah, but to feed 10 people, they're saying you buy one package of hamburger buns, which is 8.
Well, because they're serving chicken and pork chops too.
Yes, only 1 pound of cheese, 2 pounds of ground beef, which you said will make 4 burgers.
Yeah.
Cookies, 1 package, only half a gallon of ice cream.
So we eat a lot. That's what that.
What do you do? 1 16-ounce bag of chips, which is mostly air.
Yeah.
2 pounds of chicken breast, 3 pounds of pork chops, a 32-ounce can of pork and beans, which just won't be enough, and 2.5 pounds of potato salad.
You know, that won't be enough, but that sounds like a lot for $67.
It does, and maybe I should enlist whoever made this list to come do my shopping.
Tired of the same few ingredients on your hot dog? A new Pepsi-infused ketchup will debut at 4 major league ballparks this 4th of July. This new culinary fusion is part of the hashtag Better with Pepsi campaign.
Speaking of saving money, this 4th of July, Bud Light's offering a $15 rebate on 15 packs of beer. Some purchases less than $15 are practically free. Customers can claim the rebate on the Bud Light website.
Futures markets are off a little bit this morning. Dow futures down 25. That's less than 0.1%. S&P futures off 11, which is 0.25%. The Nasdaq futures down 70, which is almost 0.5%.
Already seeing some reduced speeds on the 215 West Belt for northbound drivers heading up around 3500 south. We'll get a look at traffic and weather together next.
Hi, we're Comparion Insurance Agency. Right now you're thinking, Comparion, never heard of them. We know. We also know that you have no idea that Comparion Insurance agents are local and provide expert advice. So to help it stick, we're going to say local agent 4 times in the next 15 seconds. Ready? Go. Our local agents know you and your community. Our local agents offer insurance from top carriers. Our local agents have minty fresh breath.
Find us at ComparionInsurance.com. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents, expert advice.
And there's number 4.
Your home is the place where you know your loved ones are secure. But the things that keep your home protected can't keep pests at bay. That's where RAID comes in. For 60 years, RAID scientists have worked to protect people around the world. With trusted research, ingredients, testing standards, and product efficacy, RAID seeks to create a better future for all, especially the ones you love most. RAID, protection for all.
Bish's RV has the best customers on the planet, so we're straight up spoiling you during Customer Appreciation Month. You'll get employee pricing on select RVs. Go to Bish's.com and click Get Lowest Price, and you're set for a summer like no other. And how about 90 days no payments for all play and no pay OAC? We'll also trade anything. Just ask. Same goes for remaining 2022s. Pricing could not be lower. Right now during Customer Appreciation Month at Bish's RV in North Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
It's only a minute of news. How long could it take? I do a lot of surfing late at night. I'm looking at all my favorite internet sources, Wall Street Journals, New York Times. People throw me ideas, but when I sit down in the morning and it's time to write, it has to resonate with me. I have to have something to say about it. It is my minute of news.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Even before the pandemic, 1 in 5 American adults experience some form of mental illness, depression, suicide, prescription opioid misuse. Utah isn't immune to our share of challenges, but there is hope. We need to take action to keep our loved ones safe. That's why KSL has teamed with the University of Utah Huntsman Mental Health Institute to bring you hope and help you thrive. It's Healthy Mind Matters. Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
6:59, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Well, Amanda, just one vehicle left on the right shoulder, northbound 215, right before 3500 south, and our delays behind this are almost gone. Just a little bit of slowing as you merge on at 47 south, Taylorsville, and then that should clear up pretty soon. I-15, first slowdown of the morning, appearing around 5300 south in Murray. SR 201, backups right now about 7200 west to Willa County. Minor slowdowns at the intersection through Lake Point to get onto I-80. Heather?
Typical slowdown southbound I-15 from Layton to Kaysville. If you transition onto Legacy Parkway, you are in stop-and-go traffic from Farmington, almost right where you merge onto I-2 Legacy Parkway, all the way down to Parish Lane in Centerville due to an earlier crash that's still in the cleanup stages over on the right shoulder. Eric?
Well, we got a vehicle that caught on fire westbound I-80 right at Hartley Summit. This is over on the right right now. It doesn't look like it's causing any major delays through the area, and eastbound heading out to Park City also looks good this morning. Take a break from financial worries. Meet with a Mountain America debt consolidation expert for a chance to win a vacation package. Details at macu.com/debt rescue. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Those clouds this morning might bring a little bit of rain before we finish up here this morning. Looking for a high of 84. It's 63 degrees in Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report.
Salt Lake City is opting for drone shows over fireworks for the 4th of July celebrations this year.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, this is the very first time Salt Lake is opting for drones over fireworks. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall says the drone show will not only help lower the risk of setting off a wildfire, but also help keep the air clear of some of the smoke fireworks leave behind. The drone show will take place Saturday, July 1st at Jordan Park. The city is also opting for drones for Pioneer Day as well. That show will be on the 24th at Liberty Park. I'm currently in contact with the mayor's office, hoping we can hear more from her later this morning. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A new study of thousands of children found when it comes to air pollution, there's no such thing as safe levels for kids. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston joins us live with the details. Peter?
Tim, when Utah's Division of Air Quality announces that it's safe for kids and families to go outside without much concern for pollution, that means it's below the federal line for what's not harmful. But this study of 9,000 kids in 21 research sites around the country shows that even these supposedly safe levels of chemicals in the air have big effects on how the brain develops connections. That's big because it could inform a change in federal guidelines. Attorney General Sean Reyes signed a letter with 19 of his counterparts across the country to say the stricter rules could wreck state and local economies. I'll be reaching out to Reyes' office and the Office of the Division of Air Quality later this morning. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Summer roadwork, special coverage on Utah's Morning News.
UDOT says there are over 200 construction projects taking place right now across the state. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts continues our series, Summer Construction.
I told UDOT spokesman John Gleason I used to drive my crying baby on I-80 in Sugar House because the worn-down gravel made the perfect road to lull her to sleep.
We're trying to remedy that. We don't want it to be the bumpiest freeway.
That's just one of UDOT's 217 construction zones right now. They're repaving, replacing bridges, and widening that freeway.
Bangor Highway interchanges. We have 4 new freeway-style interchanges.
The West Davis project also creating a new 4-lane divided highway. Gleason says you have 217 spots now in Utah to pack your patience. Lindsay Aerts, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The former Marine charged with choking a homeless man to death on a Manhattan subway is expected to be arraigned today. ABC's Derek Waller says that Daniel Penny says he was acting to protect himself and other passengers when he placed Jordan Neely in a chokehold.
Finally, those charges are expected to be unsealed later this morning, and this is actually the second time that he's being arraigned on these charges. First, after he was arrested, but then the grand jury gets its say, and they returned a true bill. Now, in a statement, the Neely family attorney said the indictment was the right result for the wrong that Penny committed, saying at some point he should have let go.
The travel nightmare drags on as severe weather impacts the East Coast. ABC's Lionel Moise has more.
The FAA blames storms in the Northeast, but United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said the FAA is at fault for the delays in Newark, telling employees the FAA reduced the arrival rates by 40% and the departure rates by 75%, and saying weather is something that the FAA has historically been able to manage. The FAA fired back saying, "We will always collaborate with anyone seriously willing to join us to solve a problem."
Moise says ground stops imposed across the Northeast caused more than 2,000 cancellations and 7,000 delays yesterday alone.
Looking now at Utah's weather with KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson. We have a chance of thunderstorms today and tomorrow, but we haven't seen any 100-degree days yet this month.
Man, it just hasn't been that hot this June, and I don't think anybody's complaining. But let's look at the numbers. An average June has 9 days in the 90s and 1 day in the triple digits. June 2021, 2 years ago, 17 days in the 90s, 7 in the triple digits, and we even clocked a 107, which tied the all-time record high in Salt Lake.
Matt says we will be in the 90s this weekend.
A group of U.S. senators, including Utah's Mike Lee, has introduced a bill aimed at Major League Baseball exemptions. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
The Competition in Professional Baseball Act would end baseball's exemption from antitrust laws governing other business and sports leagues dating back to the 1992 Supreme Court case Federal Baseball Club versus National League, which ruled that baseball games are not traditional interstate commerce but exhibitions exempt from antitrust laws.
We have the ability through legislation to undo it, and that's precisely what we're doing.
The bill is assigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee, where Senator Lee sits. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report. Here's Andy.
Tim, I-15's got some slowdowns around the 53rd South Murray exit. I-15 also starting to back up southbound in Layton to Kaysville. Legacy crash still in the cleanup stages, but we've got slowdowns much of the way from Farmington through Centerville on Legacy. And we've got delays building over on Mountain View Corridor near 3500 South. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
President Biden will be putting a spotlight on his economic policies today. ABC's Andy Field has more.
The president will highlight his economic vision for the nation for the next few years and call it Bidenomics, a brand name that polling shows many Americans don't agree is working, with a recent ABC News poll showing 54% of the country thought Donald Trump did a better job with the economy. President's press secretary disagrees, saying voters they talk with support the president's policies of making smart public investments, helping grow the middle class, and promoting competition.
Field says every president wants to be attached to a good economy, and Biden hopes his policies will help him get another 4 years in the White House.
A report card from the Federal Reserve comes out today on the health of the nation's banks. Here's ABC's Daria Albinger.
Following the 2007 to 2009 financial crisis, the Federal Reserve established a set of parameters for the nation's banks to ensure they won't fail in the event of an economic downturn. The annual stress test compares a bank's balance sheet against such scenarios to determine how much capital they'd need to survive. The results of this year's test come out today, and they may get more attention than usual. It's the first one since Silicon Valley, Signature, and First Republic banks failed. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Salt Lake City is the third best city in the U.S. to start a career, according to Bankrate. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
When it comes to starting a new career, Salt Lake City offers a unique springboard.
The opportunities are there for not only the young workers, but also older ones too, but mostly the younger workers and so on. Great place, great opportunity, great expansion area.
Mark Nold of the Department of Workforce Services says Utah's demographics create a dynamic market for beginners and move-ins alike.
The nice thing about the Utah economy, it's very diverse. It has a big distribution across the whole economy of how jobs get spread across different industries.
Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
A follow-up this morning on a story we told you about yesterday. 2 women are facing aggravated abuse charges after their patient died by suicide last year. The workers at Hidden Hollow Care Center in Orem allegedly let Chen Nguyen, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, go without medical evaluations or his medication for more than a week.
A man is dead and a 19-year-old under arrest after a fight over movie theater seats. ABC's Alex Stone has the story.
When 19-year-old Enrique Padilla arrived with his girlfriend to the Century Rio movie theater in northeast Albuquerque on Saturday, police say 52-year-old Michael Tenorio and his wife were sitting in Padilla's assigned seats. Padilla was angry. Staff intervened. Padilla threw a bucket of popcorn at Tenorio and his wife. Tenorio pushed Padilla, then police say Padilla pulled out a gun and opened fire, hitting Tenorio, who fell to the ground. Tenorio died right there in that theater. Padilla was found hiding in a bush outside of an emergency exit at the theater. Now he's accused of murder. Alex Stone, EBC News.
What is wrong with us, Tim?
Just wound too tight. I mean, you think about this was
Over
a dispute.
a seat
in
a
movie theater.
movie.
Crazy. Actor Kevin Spacey's 4-week sex assault trial begins today in the UK. Here's what it sounded like as he arrived in court.
Morning, Mr. Spacey.
The 63-year-old Oscar-winning actor has pleaded not guilty to 12 charges. He could face a prison sentence if convicted. The charges stem from the time Spacey lived in London from 2001 to 2013. KSL News Time now 7:09. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy, how we doing?
If you're going through the Salt Lake Valley, I-15 gets a little bit slow right around Midvale. That's about all so far. So around 7200 South, you'll see some busy traffic. City Street's the busiest in Salt Lake is going to be Mountain View Corridor approaching 35th South. Earlier slowdowns on 215 have cleared out completely, even though the vehicle that caused all the delay is still sitting over on the right shoulder. Heather?
So have our typical delays southbound 15 from Layton to Kaysville. But after that, you've got good speeds all the way into downtown Salt Lake. Your biggest issue remains Legacy Parkway southbound. Lots of slowing for about a mile and a half as you leave Farmington, head toward Parish Lane and Centerville. That's all due to an earlier crash that's now over on the right shoulder. Eric.
Starting to get a little bit busier now. Foothill Drive as you exit 215 eastbound or I-80 and head up towards University of Utah. Right now between Parley's Way 2100 North and up at 1300 South. You've got slowdowns there, I should say, between Parley's Way and 2100 South. That's where the slowdowns are. I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound. That's looking good from Lehigh down to Provo. Stop by your locally owned and operated Big O Tires for big tire savings this 4th of July. Big O Tires has the lowest price on every tire every day on brands you know and trust. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast, 7 a.m., mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the mid-60s. Working into the lunch hour, 77, light and variable winds, mostly cloudy. By this afternoon and evening, slight chance for storms, 84 the high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It is mostly cloudy this hour. We haven't quite made it to the mid-60s. 63 degrees now downtown.
I've been watching the monitors this morning, seeing the pictures of people sleeping in the airports last night. I feel so bad
Have
for
you ever
them.
had to do that?
Yes, in
Oh, my
Chicago.
gosh.
Christmas Eve. I'll never forget it.
Well, Chicago's one thing. I did it in Vegas, and I happened to lay down right next to the Wheel of Fortune.
That was not a good
machine.
move. Pick a different spot.
Like every 30 seconds, Wheel of Fortune.
We'll get you an update on what's going on with these flight delays just ahead on KSL.
The music industry is seeing more bad behavior from fans.
It's a trend that's gotten weird and dangerous. Fans throwing objects on stage during live performances by major artists. The most recent, a fan throwing the bag full of her mother's cremated remains to Pink as the singer performed in London. Pink not missing a beat, quickly moving on. But not every incident has been so painless. Earlier this month, singer Bebe Rexha was taken to the hospital after a man threw his phone at her. Rexha suffered a black eye requiring stitches. The man who threw the phone was arrested for assault and battery, the man telling police he thought it would be funny to hit her.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports that Pink has pushed pause on her tour because of it.
The owners of the NFL teams around the country will meet next month to discuss the sale of the Washington Commanders football team.
Teams were notified of a special league meeting that will take place in Minneapolis. 24 of the league's 32 owners. Approval is needed to finalize the deal between Dan Snyder and his family and a group led by Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils owner Josh Harris. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Campsites around the country are fully booked months in advance, but many of them are going half empty. KSL News Radio's Andrew Gordon explains.
It turns out that many campers are making multiple bookings months in advance before their plans are fully set. When those plans change or the weather prohibits them from going, they simply don't show up and don't let the parks know they won't be there to avoid a cancellation fee. California is working on legislation that would turn cancellation fees into reservation credit that can be used in the next 5 years. The hope is to encourage cancellations when necessary and allow other campers to fill those campsites. Andrew Gordon, KSL News Radio.
People living in Collinston, Utah, in Box Elder County say they have a new appreciation for state history and seagulls. Videos making the rounds online show seagulls descending on a swarm of grasshoppers, destroying a field of crops. They say the birds helped save the crops, and it reminds them of all the stories about the early pioneers who say seagulls helped save their crops all those years ago. That's so interesting.
Kind of cool that it's happening just before the Pioneer celebrations here in the state of Utah. It's a birdie buffet. Trending this hour in the 7 o'clock report, how much would you pay for a cheeseburger? We were talking about the cost of 4th of July being less expensive this year. Not at a restaurant in Philadelphia. They've created a burger that costs $700. The ingredients include 8 ounces of Wagyu beef, Wexford aged Irish cheddar, Italian black truffle, Italian caviar, lobster meat, and to top it all off, a gold leaf-covered brioche bun.
Don't be putting lobster on your hamburger. I love lobster, but not on a hamburger.
I don't know. I'd like to try it if somebody else was buying.
Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak is leaving the show after 41 seasons, and the new host will be Ryan Seacrest. Seacrest will also continue to host American Idol and Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. That guy is one busy guy. Vanna White had asked to be the new host, but it's reported she intends to stay with the show if she can get a significant pay raise.
I heard this morning she hired an attorney.
Oh, wow.
Because all this time, what's his name? Pat Sajak was making $15 million a year. She was making $3 million.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be the host, so she now wants a little pay bump. We'll see how that turns out. KSL News Time, 7:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
summer construction season is here, and UDOT says there are 217 construction projects across the state right now. I'm KSL News Radio's Lindsay Ayers.
Second, Salt Lake City leaders say they're going to invite the public to attend drone shows this 4th of July rather than fireworks shows.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Well, southbound traffic on I-15 is looking a little bit better late into Kaysville. Legacy Parkway delays have pretty much cleared out now that the crash is gone in Centerville. And I-15 northbound lanes from Provo to Salt Lake City, you shouldn't see any extra travel time along that whole stretch. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, chance for thunderstorms today. How about a high of 84? I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 63 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. People sleeping on cots, lines snaking out the door, and being put on hold for hours. That's the situation for many of the nation's airports thanks to bad weather and poor staffing, much of it affecting the Northeast. The weather also contributing to the chaos, including smoky skies over the Great Lakes thanks to smoke from Canadian wildfires.
A lakefront breeze here in Chicago is expected to clear the air a bit, but some of this will linger, and officials in New York are preparing for possibly more smoke there later this week.
ABC's Alex Perez in Chicago. We're learning more about the aborted attempt to storm Moscow and the role the head of the Wagner mercenary group played in it.
A senior U.S. official has told ABC News the leader of the mercenary rebellion, Yevgeny Prigozhin, had conversations with senior Russian generals and others in Moscow before launching his revolt. Among the generals, the official said, was Sergei Surovikin, who was briefly overall commander of Russia's forces in Ukraine before being removed in January. The Kremlin calling the claims gossip. Prigozhin himself is now in exile in Belarus, guarded by his Wagner Group mercenary fighters.
ABC's Patrick Reevell in Ukraine. Ukraine's counterintelligence service arresting a man in connection with a Russian missile strike at a pizza restaurant that left 10 people dead, including 3 teenagers. You're listening to ABC News.
We have been feeling bad for all these travelers back east. They've been dealing with thousands of flight delays over the past 3 days.
ABC's Stephanie Ramos has more.
This morning, coast-to-coast chaos as severe weather and an FAA staffing shortage disrupt travel for millions ahead of what's expected to be the busiest July 4th weekend on record. More than 11,000 flights canceled or delayed Monday and more than 9,000 Tuesday, and the ripple effects growing this morning. Days of bad weather causing an already fragile system to melt down into a cascade of cancellations.
It's not okay because people have planned these vacations for
a long time.
Leaving travelers stranded, sleeping on cots, some on the ground, with nowhere to go from New Jersey to Denver. While the FAA is blaming the storms in the Northeast for all the delays and cancellations, the CEO of United Airlines is blaming the FAA, saying they failed us. The FAA responding, "We will always collaborate with anyone seriously willing to join us to solve a problem." This crisis follows a report from the Department of Transportation's Inspector General finding the FAA is facing a shortage of air traffic controllers. 20 of 26 critical facilities staffed below the FAA's 85% threshold.
The TSA is predicting that the peak of this 4th of July holiday travel will be Friday, so Friday is likely to be the busiest travel day when they expect to screen nearly 2.9 million flyers.
You going out of town at all this holiday weekend?
No.
No, us neither.
Staying close to home, but we talk about how this impacts the East Coast. That reverberates across the entire country.
Oh, yeah, especially being a Delta hub, for sure it does.
And we have a lot of people, I think, that like to get away to Disney properties in places like Florida. So you may find some effects there as well. Our thanks to ABC's Stephanie Ramos helping us out on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
7:19 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, traffic on I-15 looks good in Salt Lake County at the moment. If you're getting on the freeway anywhere between Draper and Midvale, you've got the full speed limit all the way to downtown. It is a little bit busy along Mountain View, both in Taylorsville, 6200 South, Kearns area, and again in West Valley at Mountain View and 3500 South. But it looks good in Tooele County so far between Tooele City and Lake Point. SR 36 seeing some delay, though, down just south of Stockton if you're going to be down in that area. Heather?
We haven't had too many problems on the city streets in Weber and Davis County, even trying to get into Hill Air Force Base this morning. That's been a welcome relief this week. Southbound I-15, though, does have your typical delays between Layton Parkway and the Kaysville Ponds. After that, you're back up to speed all the way into downtown Salt Lake. And the earlier delays southbound Legacy Parkway are gone now that the accident is cleared. Eric?
A vehicle that caught on fire westbound I-80 this morning going up through the mountains. This is right at Parley Summit. Again, this is westbound, but that's over on the right shoulder and looks like it's not really causing any kind of slowdowns. If you're eastbound from the mouth of the canyon out to the Kimball Junction exit, that looks good through Parley's Canyon as well. Now in Utah County, I-15 northbound and southbound, no difficulties. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 84 today with a chance for storms. We'll go 85 tomorrow, lesser chance, but still a slight chance for some PM storms. 87 and mostly sunny for your Friday. We move into Saturday, 92, sunny skies. High pressure right overhead on Sunday, 96 degrees. We'll go 97 on Monday. How about partly cloudy and 96 for your 4th of July. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Looks a little threatening over the Wasatch Mountains right now. Mostly cloudy, 64 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
KSL News Time now is 7:21. There's a new art exhibit in the UK that features photos taken by a young Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney was noodling around with a new camera, taking pictures of his friends in October 1963 through February 1964. That just happened to be as Beatlemania took hold. The Eyes of the Storm exhibit shows 250 photos that McCartney rediscovered and often never had printed. Curator Rosie Broadley says the photos of the Beatles in Miami in 1964 show details of how crazy things were.
There's a woman carrying a chimpanzee, and then people sort of almost falling off the balcony.
The exhibit runs through October. I'm Archie Zaraletta.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. With new customer expectations and consumption channels, the customer journey is increasingly more complex across marketing, sales, and service teams. While technology can help ease these complexities, when software is cobbled together, it creates siloed teams, inaccurate data, and a disjoint experience. That's where Growl comes in. CEO Greg Olson joins us with more.
Growl has been in business for over 13 years with offices in Salt Lake City and Grand Junction, Colorado. We empower businesses to tell their story and maximize revenue through software utilization. Growl's marketing and technology solutions are crafted, not cobbled. We implement advanced software like HubSpot to create a connected customer experience and establish a single source of truth for data. This enables businesses to initiate the right conversations with the right people at the right time, making meaningful relationships throughout the customer journey. Here's a stat for our listeners. Businesses that have an integrated marketing, sales, and service tech stack see a 51% increase in deals won compared to customers that have a siloed tech stack. Beyond marketing and sales software implementation, we focus on marketing and sales strategy. We build trackable cross-channel campaigns that increase our clients' bottom line and shorten sales cycles. Find out more at growlagency.com/SLCC.
Growl is a marketing agency rooted in technology and passionate about helping customers put their clients at the center of business decisions. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Have you been waiting to buy a car until interest rates go down? I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown. With our rate cut sale, now there's no reason to wait.
Get 3.9 for 5 years at Volkswagen Southtown on any new car. And we have as low as 1.9 on used cars. Get the car you really want, like the Jetta, Tiguan, Taos, Atlas, or ID4 EV.
Save thousands in interest at Volkswagen Southtown, Utah's #1 Volkswagen dealer. Start shopping at VWSouthtown.com.
Claim since 2022. Financing through VCI on select models OAC. See dealer for details.
We are watching Utah's Money on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. A university in New York has filed a lawsuit against a cleaning company. They claim one of the cleaners destroyed 20 years of research by turning off a lab freezer containing sensitive cell cultures. According to the lawsuit, the freezer was beeping, which the cleaner turned off because he found it annoying. Man, if you've got stuff worth that much money, you got to have a conversation with your cleaners.
Yeah,
and say, let's be clear, never unplug this.
And a lot of big flashing lights probably to go
Yeah.
along with it. They estimate the losses could be $1 million. Prices for natural gas are less than half what they were last year. Hopefully, this should mean lower electricity bills for many American households this summer.
A glitch in the Cash App has caused double charges on transactions, bringing some customers down into a negative account balance. The company announced they found the cause of the glitch and all double charges will be refunded.
We had big gains yesterday across the board, but we're going to give some of that back just ahead of the bell this morning. The futures of the Dow down 24. The S&P is off by just 11.5, and the NASDAQ is down this hour by 76 points.
I just wanted to say thanks to all of our texters who have texted in this morning telling us more about how they feel about doing a drone show instead of a traditional fireworks show in Salt Lake this July 4th, which I'm excited to see. I looked it up. It's at Jordan Park on July 4th. And you can text us anytime. Let us know how you feel about it. I mean, Ron says, good for the mayor. It's about time we get away from fireworks. And some people want to know what a drone show looks like. YouTube drone show, and you can see some awesome presentations that have been done.
Yeah, if you want to see one that'll just blow your mind, look at the world record that was set with over 5,200 or close to 5,200 drones in China.
But even with a fraction of that number, they can be incredible.
They can.
I'm sure they can make them look exactly like fireworks, just without the smoke.
Yeah.
Anyway, text us on the Cypress Credit Union KSL text line. That's 57500.
We've had some problems this morning already. An accident early that caused some slowdowns, and then we heard about slowing on I-215 westbound. We'll see where the problems may be with traffic and weather together coming up.
We had balsamic chicken and rice last night.
Did the kids like that?
Oh my gosh! See, they love chicken no matter how I cook it. But Beehive Meals has the best chicken. I mean, just this month we've had teriyaki chicken stir fry, sweet chicken tacos. This is balsamic chicken. I haven't made the zesty Italian chicken yet, but I want to. We eat a lot of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
But they have all kinds of other things, too. I mean, the one that they loved sausage Alfredo. And they give me 10 freezer-ready meals a month, and I just throw one in the crock pot, and it's ready whenever we are.
Well, you feed a few more mouths than we do at our house. So we're sort of an interesting mix for Beehive Meals. It's just Becky and I most of the time for two of us, and that can be a challenge sometimes, getting the right amount of food. No longer a problem with Beehive Meals. These are freezer meals that come directly to your house. They're dropped off. And they come in sets of 10. You can get them twice a month, I think, if you want.
And they come in different sizes, so it's perfect for 2 people, or if you have 5 or 6 or 7, that's perfect for me.
And actually, the more mouths you're feeding, the cheaper it gets per serving, but they're always less than $3.50, which is just an amazing thing. It's a Utah company, and they have now delivered over 1 million meals. They won the Best of State 2 straight years.
And you don't have to rack your brain, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? Because you've got ideas. You've got meals right there ready to go. Bada bing, bada boom.
And you're going to have things you never would have dreamed of or come up with yourself. So go to beehivemeals.com.
Tim and Amanda.
If this is the first time you've ever joined us, can we just say welcome, welcome? I hope you come back and see us again. Tim and I have been doing this for a long time, and we love what we do. But the best part of what we do always and will always be connecting with you.
How many times do we say people don't understand how much information and really love we get from that side of the radio?
Yes.
They thank us for giving it to them, but we get it back so many times.
Wake up with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Utah needs to replace Representative Chris Stewart.
In this special election, only one person can come out of convention, and that person is Celeste Malloy.
Now we know at least one Republican has made the ballot.
She did get the endorsement from her former boss, Congressman Chris Stewart. She called herself a political dark horse.
Now it's a foot race for a handful of other challengers to collect signatures and make the primary. The drop-dead date is Tuesday the 5th. We'll update the field all this week on KSL News Radio.
Join KSL tomorrow night from 6 to 9 p.m. for a special movie show at the Megaplex Theaters at the District in South Jordan. The movie show Thursday night at the Megaplex at the District.
It's because Indiana Jones is coming, and I haven't been this excited in a while. All right, let's see what's happening on the roads out there at 729. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. We go back to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, drivers heading toward downtown expect a little bit of delay now on I-15 at 106 South area. In Sandy, you also still have slowdowns in West Valley on Mountain View and Bangerter, both together, are seeing delays at the same spot, 3500 South. To Willett County, it's getting worse in both Stansbury Park and Lake Point on SR 36, although those two delays have yet to reach each other, so you'll have some stop and go there, and then again in Lake Point. Heather?
Looks like we have a new crash up in Weber County. This is I-15 right near the I-84 split, and it's actually affecting traffic both northbound and southbound. We'll try to get a camera on that and see what's going on. Other than that, you've got good speeds on I-15 southbound once you get past Roy, all the way into downtown Salt Lake. US 89 is in good shape, has been all morning long, as well as I-84 going through the mountains. Eric.
Utah County looks solid on I-15 this morning. Normal travel times, 24 minutes from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain. Through Parley's Canyon, you've got a vehicle they caught on fire earlier westbound at Parley Summit. It looks like they're still cleaning that up, but no delays through there and eastbound out to the Kimball Junction exit. That looks good if you're going to Park City. Premium checking from America First is more than a regular account. In fact, it's so loaded with benefits and features, it was voted Best Perks by Money.com. Apply for it today at AmericaFirst.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have a chance of thunderstorms today and tomorrow. Today's high will be 84 degrees. Right now it's 65 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 7:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A record-breaking snowpack has almost completely melted in what experts say was a near-perfect spring.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, one hydrologist said there was very little chance we wouldn't see significant flooding with that record snowpack going into the spring, but that's exactly what happened. Now more than 99% of that snowpack has come down. National Weather Service meteorologist Linda Chang says the temperatures worked out just right.
We didn't have any significant warming, and we didn't have any significantly cold temperatures. It's just kind of moderate temperatures, kind of up and down every day.
KSL.com reports some areas even got north of 80 inches of water, still didn't badly flood. We'll continue to see temperatures in the 80s this week, but we're headed to the 90s this weekend, meaning more of that snow is going to keep coming down. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Plus, June is almost over, and we haven't hit 100 degrees yet. But meteorologists say that's actually normal. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla explains.
We've seen some warm Junes, but this month has been surprisingly cool. Meteorologist Alex DeSmet with the National Weather Service says this is what a normal June should look like, and what we've experienced the last couple years is not normal.
Not normal to have that many 100-degree days in June, but it started to feel like it was normal, right? Because you go back to 2015, every June had a 100-degree day except for 2018 and 2019.
One 100-degree day is normal for June, but DeSmet is almost certain we won't have one this year. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Temperatures above 90 are on the way this weekend, and that means playground equipment will get dangerously hot. KSL News Radio's Dale Spalding has more.
Intermountain Health Memorial Clinic General Pediatrician Dr. Peter Lindgren says there's clear signs of dehydration in kids, their energy, and their mood. If they're tired and irritable playing on a hot day, they might need water. He encourages parents to keep water on hand while kids play. On the more intense end, Dr. Lindgren says if your child goes from hot and flushed to cold and pale, it's time to get medical help.
Lindgren adds if a child gets burned on playground equipment, the best thing to do, get off the playground and pour water over the burn.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Evacuations have been ordered in Scottsdale, Arizona, as firefighters there battle a fast-moving brush fire that exploded in size overnight. Fire management spokesperson Tiffany Davila says that firefighters are trying to protect homes and businesses.
They're working structure protection. We do know that there's structures in immediate threat of this fire, so the crews are doing everything they can to cut line around these homes that are in the vicinity of the fire. They're doing that right now.
More air support is being called in to help, including retardant drops from DC-10s.
There's an outbreak in Bountiful of water balloon assaults. Joining us live is KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston. Peter?
Amanda, Dennis Ferry is an Uber driver, and he tells KSL TV that he was on the job last night in Bountiful when...
I heard a loud thud hit the side of my car. Right here is where the dent is. You can see the little line in my car.
Police say they've already written 10 tickets for people who threw water balloons at locals in their cars, and they hope to nip this problem in the bud before a victim gets road rage. Assistant Chief Dave Edwards says there's a time and a place.
A paintball or an airsoft or a water balloon, those things, it's just not appropriate. And it makes people angry, it makes people afraid.
Edwards says anyone caught doing this will get an assault charge. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A South Jordan family's feeling unsettled after discovering bullet holes in their house. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
South Jordan police are still investigating who took a shot at a home in Daybreak.
We face into like a communal garden, so it's super weird.
KSL TV met with a homeowner who wished to remain anonymous after discovering the bullets in a hallway closet after penetrating the front door.
Well, I freaked out. We had a baby in the house, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like the perfect height for her head.
The homeowner just wishes she knew how it happened and that whoever did it will hold themselves accountable.
I'm just concerned that it might be like a kid that has access to a gun that got a hold of it last night and accidentally shot it off.
Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Right now, Amanda, the big delays are southbound I-15 as you go down from 31st Street in Ogden into Riverdale. Don't know what the cause is. I don't actually see anything blocking traffic, though it may have been earlier. We still have that southbound delay in Kaysville, some northbound slowing on Legacy over by 215, and a lot of Mountain View delay northbound in West Valley this morning as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Former President Donald Trump is reacting to the audio recording quoted in the indictment against him.
Trump has pleaded not guilty to 37 federal charges in relation to documents found at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Now, the New York Times reports prosecutors have also subpoenaed surveillance video from Trump's New Jersey golf club as part of the investigation. In the meantime, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on damage control after suggesting Trump may not be the strongest Republican candidate in the 2024 presidential race.
ABC's Justin Finch says Mr. Trump tells ABC News the recording of him was nothing more than his bravado and he did nothing wrong.
Former President Trump is now suing the writer who sued him for defamation. Mr. Trump accuses E. Jean Carroll of defaming him after a jury held him liable for sexually assaulting her, but they did not find him guilty of rape. After the verdict, Carroll appeared on television and insisted Trump raped her. The lawsuit says the former president deserves compensatory and punitive damages for the harm to his reputation.
The sudden death of a former NFL quarterback is drawing attention to beach safety. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more.
Authorities in Destin, Florida say a group of people on a sandbar yesterday struggled to get back to shore. One of them later identified as 35-year-old Ryan Mallett. He was pulled from the water and died at the hospital. Mallett joined the New England Patriots in 2011, spending 3 seasons as Tom Brady's backup before playing for the Texans and Ravens. The Patriots releasing a statement saying the team is deeply saddened by Mallett's death. Former Patriot star Julian Edelman tweeting, "Tough one to swallow. Thoughts are with the family." The sheriff's office is now investigating Mallett's apparent drowning.
Norwood says Mallett's death is highlighting a surge in rip current deaths along the Gulf Coast.
We have some slowing on southbound I-15 at the I-84 interchange in Riverdale. Some northbound slowing there as well. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Boyd Matheson helps you to think about the news differently.
What the American people are looking for out of all sides of politics is just give me a vision.
Join an elevated conversation. Inside Sources from 1 to 3. Then Jeff Kaplan and his Minute of News on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
Embrace the magic of summer nights and create lasting memories in your own swim spa from Bullfrog Spas. Our swim series lets you enjoy year-round fitness, fun with the family, and unmatched relaxation in the only swim spa with a patented jetpack therapy system. And during our endless summer sale, you'll save big with up to $5,000 off MSRP. Plus, get affordable 48-month special financing. Visit your nearby Bullfrog Spas factory store to take advantage of the endless summer sale.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
Don't miss America's Freedom Festival in Utah County, a celebration with a mission to teach the honor and patriotism of our great nation. Take in Utah's largest July 4th Grand Parade, Freedom Days in downtown Provo, Balloon Fest, and Colonial Fest in Orem, followed by the state's biggest fireworks show and concert, Alta Bank Stadium of Fire, featuring Journey. For information, visit freedomfestival.org. freedomfestival.org.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. You know, I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
We continue to get texts this morning on this idea of drones versus fireworks on the 4th of July after the mayor in Salt Lake City said it'll be drones this year.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of those. One of them saying fireworks or replacing fireworks for less pollution while expanding the airport from 5 to 17 gates. Sort of negate each other there. Anyway, lots of different takes on it this morning, and you can text us at 57500.
7:39 now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the Nines. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
And right now, if you're traveling through Salt Lake County, that northbound drive has been really good for the most part up till now. We're getting a little bit of slowing to appear between Bluffdale and Bangalore Highway exits at the south end of the valley. Bangalore's backed up approaching I-15. It's also really slow in South Jordan on Bangalore, trying to get up to that 9800 South intersection. Traffic in Tooele County. The Stansbury Park slowdowns have shifted into Lake Point, and now you're backed up between Canyon Road and the I-80 on-ramp in Lake Point. Heather?
Southbound I-15 in Weber County has some delays from 29th Street all the way down to the I-84 interchange. We never saw a crash in the cameras. Obviously, something slowed everybody down, but speeds look to be improving at this point. They're picking up speed, and the northbound delays we had in the same area are gone, so hopefully whatever it was has been cleaned up. You have a pretty good drive from Ogden after you pass that slowdowns all the way into downtown Salt Lake City. Legacy Parkway has road construction heading north. As you hook on from I-215, the right lane is blocked. Eric?
Well, the vehicle that caught on fire westbound I-80 at Parley Summit is still there, along with a couple of others. This is over on the right shoulder. Never really caused any delays except maybe right at the point of ignition, but everything is looking good right now. I-15 Utah County in northbound and southbound, that's in good shape from Provo to Lehigh. Keep your allergies under control this spring with Rentmeister. Call 801-773-6900 and mention KSL for a free indoor air quality consultation. Visit us at rentmeister.com. I'm Eric Butler, the KSL Traffic Center.
Time this morning for the Pollen Report, brought to you by Rentmeister Total Home Services.
KSL Pollen Report. The weeds and shrubs have finally backed off in the low. Trees are in the low. We work into the mold. How about some moderate pollen counts for the mold, and grasses in the moderate to high? From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
65 degrees this hour.
We were talking earlier this morning about why would somebody want to get in the presidential race, particularly on the Republican side, when former President Trump has a huge lead in the polls. It's like 30-plus points between him and the next closest competitor. We talked earlier this morning about that with the 538 elections analyst, and he was interesting. We'll share with you what he had to say just ahead.
That's next at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. Thanks.